eventually mastered Kyrgios's monster serve to win in 4 in a match which lasted 3 hours and 1 minute. It wasn't without controversy, Kyrgios demanding a fan be kicked out for talking during serves. Kyrgios spoke after the match, expressing gratitude for his new friend and opponent.
Yeah, he's a bit of a god, I'm not going to lie. I thought I played well. But yeah, first of all, I just want to congratulate Novak and your team. Of course, you've won this championship, I don't even know how many times anymore.
From today, South Australians over 30 can access a 4th COVID jab. 600 pharmacies and GPs will be administering shots along with several hubs. Professor Nicola Spurrier says that makes the vaccine easily accessible.
I'm looking forward to having a vaccine at a pharmacist because I think that's a really convenient way for many of us to access the COVID vaccine along with flu vaccine.
An elderly man remains in a critical condition after being hit by a train on the weekend. It happened at the Ovingham railway station yesterday morning. It's the 3rd serious crash locally involving a train and pedestrian in the past 2 months. Protesters in Sri Lanka are vowing to occupy the presidential and prime ministerial residences until the leaders officially resign. Thousands of demonstrators have descended on Colombo to express their anger over food and fuel shortages and economic mismanagement. Both leaders have said they will step down, but protesters want it to be made official. There are concerns an avalanche of flood insurance claims interstate could push up premiums across the board. Earlier this year, the federal government created the Northern Australia Reinsurance Pool, designed to make insurance in flood and cyclone-prone areas more affordable. Samantha Rees from Australia Apartment Advocacy says the scheme should be applied more broadly.
What we want the Albanese government to do is go back to the drawing board and let's see how we can apply it to other regions that are also highly impacted by this kind of mother of nature situation.
South Africa is dealing with a spate of violent bar shootings, the BBC's Andrew Harding reports.
All of the dead were young men living in deep poverty on the edge of Johannesburg. Police Commissioner Elias Mawela said the attackers were armed with automatic weapons. The killings have sparked deep anger here. Nearly 2/3 of young South Africans are unemployed. The economy has been hit hard by COVID and political tensions are on the rise. Since Friday, 3 attacks in 3 different bars have killed more than 20 people.
Aussie actor Chris Hemsworth is the king of the US box office. Thor: Love and Thunder making $143 million in its opening weekend. Now to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And he's back in the newsroom and back in the news booth. It's hello to Tom Reed.
And it's great to be back. Thank you, Mel. And a little bit disappointing, though, overnight in the tennis. As we just heard with you a little bit earlier, Novak Djokovic has beaten Nick Kyrgios in 4 sets to take out the Wimbledon men's final. Now, the Aussie won the first set 6-4, but then lost the next 3. Speaking on court, Djokovic heaped praise on Kyrgios, referring back to an earlier quip from the Aussie about how their relationship has come a long way.
I really respect you a lot. I think you are a phenomenal tennis player, an athlete, an amazing talent. And I never thought I'm going to say so many nice things about you, considering the relationship. Okay, it's officially a bromance. All right.
Let's go to football, and Adelaide has suffered one of its worst losses of the season after going down by 32 points to Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. The result sees the Crows slip to 15th spot after round 17 with only 5 wins for the season. In yesterday's other results, Essendon stunned Brisbane by 10 points at the Gabba, while Carlton made a mess of West Coast, thumping them by 63 points. Let's go to cricket. Australia's got a lot of work to do with 2 days to play in the second test against Sri Lanka in Galle. The home side reached 6 for 431 at stumps on day 3, giving them a lead of 67 runs. And in some golf to finish, American Xander Schauffele has claimed the Scottish Open by a shot in the perfect warm-up for this week's British Open. Aussie Cam Smith, he didn't fare too badly, finishing 5 shots back in a tie for 10th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, and showers developing today, a top of 14, showers tomorrow 14, Wednesday partly cloudy and 15, Thursday partly cloudy and 15. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
Tell you what doesn't feel amazing, the 4 o'clock alarm. Good morning to you, Adelaide. 5AA breakfast. David and Will back on this Monday morning. And I tell you what, we almost couldn't have picked a colder day to return. If we were going to pick a colder day, though, it would have been yesterday. Yesterday in Adelaide, the coldest morning since August last year. It was 0.4 degrees at Parafield, minus 0.4 degrees at Parafield Airport in the morning yesterday. It feels cool again today. We'll take you through all the details shortly with the Weather Bureau. We're off to London, should I say, in the first hour of the program. We'll speak to Miley Hogan at Wimbledon. I suspect if you're up right now and you watch the Kyrgios match, you're probably fairly bleary-eyed. But it had the full sweep of Nick Kyrgios about it. From the promising opening to the mental breakdown in the middle of it. We'll take you through it with Tom Wren a little bit later this half hour. Amanda Rishworth will be on the program as well after 7:30 today. We've got a whole heap of news to sink our teeth into after 8 o'clock, including some changes to COVID protocols that mean access to vaccines for a different cohort of people, a recommendation, in fact, a fairly strong one that's come in, and access to antivirals, which is a new component of this for us here in Australia. Certainly, if you're online, you'll note people in the US have been talking about getting access to antivirals for a long time. So that's set to change. It changes today, and you'll hear all about it on 5AA Breakfast over the course of the day. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Great to see you again, mate. I trust you had an excellent 2 weeks off.
Absolutely.
We were over in Sydney, and I tell you what, great city to visit, but every time I do, and it was the first time I actually went on a plane since that thing happened a couple of years ago. I hadn't flown for almost 2.5 years, went over there with Kate and all 4 of the kids, and I don't know how I lived there for so long. Like, every time you leave the house in Sydney, you lose $50. It is the most expensive place in the world. Like, it was great fun last week because on the Monday, we were meant to be going to the Taronga Zoo. The forecast was for 160 millimetres of rain. So I jumped on the zoo website the night before and thought, I might just change the tickets to see if we can go on Thursday instead, so that we don't all actually drown trying to see the giraffes and so forth. We went to the aquarium instead. The aquarium, and I reckon there'd be a few tourism businesses that are in this category. After 2 years where they didn't have any customers, I think the first thing they did when they reopened was they sacked the health and safety guy. So you pay $260 for a family ticket, and then because you've got 2 teenage kids, they're charged as adults as well, so you throw another $100 on top for that. So you go to this mangy aquarium that is starting to look like Sydney's own Marineland. This thing's showing its age. And you get in there, and because of the weather, you think, well, I might just park in the city, because there's a chance the ferries will get cancelled, and we'll get stuck in the rain in the middle of the windswept CBD with 2 children aged 4 and 7. That won't end well. So I'll just jump in the hire car. So you park in Sussex Street, a short stroll from the aquarium, and without even looking at how much it is going to cost you per hour, you get back to the car 2 hours and 15 minutes later, and it's $79. $79! Now, I got a parking fine down here in Highmarsh Square last year. It was $58. It costs you $21 more to park legally in Sydney for 2 hours than it does to park illegally in Adelaide all day.
I can one-up you in the car parking stakes. And it goes, I think, to the point you're making about the big cities in Australia at the moment, where, frankly, you're mad to live. Actually, genuinely, you're just mad to live in them now. We drove to Melbourne for our holiday. Well, part of the holiday. We drove and we went to Melbourne, and when we got into our hotel, the valet said, well, we've got no space, mate. Sorry, $70 a day for valet at the hotel. He said, but you'll be right, because just 400 metres down the street, there's a car park you can park in. Beautiful, I said. Not a problem, mate. That's great. Went and got the car the next day, $255.
You're kidding?
$255.
Mate, that's a flight.
That's what we said. We could have gone to first class between the petrol.
You should have flown to the car park.
That's right. But they are
$255.
$255. I didn't even know you could, on a parking meter, they could say that many numbers.
No, I thought they tapped out. I thought it was still a double-digit scenario.
A double-digit scenario,
I didn't think you could pay more than $99.99.
That's what I thought.
It was like K-Tel.
It is. The big
That's
cities in
extraordinary.
Australia, I think, are beginning to feel increasingly like the mega cities of Asia, like a Hong Kong and a
Yeah,
Singapore,
yeah.
where it's creaking at the seams.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure you'll have had examples like this, and you talk about it with the aquarium. But you go, when we're in Melbourne, you go anywhere, you get to get coffee in the morning, something just as normal as that. You better be prepared to line up on the pavement for 10 minutes plus.
The queue to get in, and as I said, it was like the aquarium people thought, listen, we haven't had any customers since 2019. Everyone's coming to the aquarium. And because it was so raining, and because it was New South Wales school holidays, I've never seen, it was like going to the big day out in 1992. And like after queuing for 40 minutes, even though we had our tickets. So we had our tickets. I'm standing there with my little my phone with my QR codes ready to go. And I go there and say, we got tickets, mate. And he goes, yep, get in the queue. I go, oh, okay. So we're standing there in Darling Harbour on a 45-degree angle because of the wind and the rain, trying to get under the shelter. We got inside. It was literally, it was like we were being herded into an internment camp.
I think that's
and
life
the added
in
bonus,
the big cities now.
And I'm sure we'll get to this topic about the changing COVID vibe in Australia right now. There was this woman behind us who was just, I'll impersonate her. Bear with me, folks. Good morning to everybody on the live stream. No elbow cough, not even a hand over the mouth, standing behind us going, and I looked at her and said, this woman she's a one-woman super spreader. Like, it was the least COVID-safe thing I've ever seen in my life. And then Sam, at the top of his lungs, he turns around and he goes, that woman's going to give everybody COVID. And he goes, run, head towards the dugong. So we're all trying to get away from the super spreader. It was actually a terrifically entertaining thing. But, my God, like, I reckon there would have been, without a word of like 5,000 people at least inside this glorified aquarium that looks like you and your mates knocked it up with some Perspex tubing and decided to charge everybody life-altering ticket prices. So, getting back to Adelaide, the best thing I did was go to the greengrocer yesterday. And I just drove down. And
you wouldn't have had to line up for a park.
There's no cars there.
I got there at 10 a.m. around looking for a park.
Just rocked up.
You didn't line up outside. You're mad if you live in any other city.
You really are.
If you live in one of the major cities, sorry. I think Perth and Brisbane are probably better. Hobart's lovely, but if you live in Sydney and Melbourne, I don't know how you do it to yourself. Text coming in on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. Mark in Para Hill says, welcome back, guys. Today was a heat wave compared to yesterday morning. Very cold all day, just like the Crows.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the job, isn't it, talking about the Crows?
Yeah, I watched it too.
Yeah.
I made the fatal error of getting emotionally involved when we got within 20 points.
Automasters text line 0480811395. Wally the Walnut says they saw you coming, Will. They did, Wally. Could have bought the car park for that price. Well, almost. Everything expensive. Yes. What's the saying? There's a sucker born every minute. That was me.
P.T. Barnum.
That was me. 14 minutes.
P.T. Barnum?
It feels like a P.T. Barnum, isn't it?
I think so.
82230000 is the number if you'd like to jump into the conversation this morning. We've got some news headlines coming up for you in just a moment.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Mum. I'm just waiting at the emergency department.
Are you okay? What happened?
I twisted my ankle at training.
And you're at the ED?
Where else would I go?
Try icing it, love. Or I could take you to the GP or a pharmacy.
That's gone all over you. Let me wipe it up.
All good. Yeah. Mum, come and get me.
Is it really an emergency? Before visiting an emergency department or calling 000, call Health Direct on 1800 022 222 to find the best healthcare option for you. A message from the Government of South Australia.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
Are you one of those people who lie awake at night worrying about everything? Wouldn't it be great to calm your anxious thoughts and just drift away into blissful sleep? then Caruso's Mind Ease could be just what you need.
You needed this last night. Caruso's Mind Ease is a once-a-day capsule that contains lavender oil to help relieve the symptoms of mild anxiety, restlessness and excess nervous energy, promoting a deep sleep and supporting refreshing sleep in adults.
So if you'd like to worry less and sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. Caruso's Mind Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your health professional.
The Haval H6 is a smart SUV, mainly because of its smart tech, safety and design, but also because of the driver, someone clever enough to demand more and get it. Haval H6, smart move.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
16 after 6. Jackson stayed up for the Kyrgios match last night and texted us on the Automasters text line. Says, fellas, Kyrgios match was typical. Explosive first set, but then once Djokovic's eye was in, the baseline rallies began and a great performance by him. Great fortnight for Kyrgios. Handled the British press like very few do. Hats off. UK weather gave another great Wimbledon. Thank you for that, Jackson. We'll talk about Nick Kyrgios in sport with Tom Wren coming up in just a moment. The hospital system is battling a surge in Omicron cases as millions become eligible for their fourth COVID vaccine from today. A second booster is now recommended for people over 50 and available for 30 to 49-year-olds. Royal Australian College of GPs Vice President Dr Bruce Willett says our health system is in a dire state.
We're seeing the hospital system being overwhelmed with a high number of people being admitted with complications of COVID. So it's really important for keeping people safe and also for helping the hospital system continuing to operate.
I got a hot date with Terry White Pharmacies at 2:45 this afternoon. They're doing a double offer. You get a flu shot and your fourth COVID jab. Everybody over the age of 50 is now eligible. So I thought, why not? 53 years old. Any little extra bow in your quiver? Is that the right turn of phrase?
No, arrow in your quiver.
Arrow in your quiver. Yes, arrow in your quiver. So that's what I'm going for. Another arrow in my quiver against the coronavirus.
Australian bikies who have been moved to Southeast Asia are back under police watch. They're being targeted by the AFP in the hopes of disrupting their continuing criminal activity, especially in trafficking tons of drugs into the country each year. Bikies are from well-known gangs like the Comancheros, Hells Angels and Bandidos. The AFP will partner with teams in Thailand, Vietnam and Cambodia to investigate these transnational criminals. In Sydney, police are wanting social media companies to help stamp out extreme music over fears it's fueling gang violence.
Extreme music?
Sydney police say that in some cases songs are used to antagonise street gang rivals by outlining crimes committed. They want the companies to put a stop to content that incites violent behaviour. This feels a little backwards, doesn't it?
That's like Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife. She was the one who brought in the parental guidance recommended stickers in the 1980s, and there's a huge backlash, and so much of it was aimed at rap music. You know, from the very early days of rap music, particularly, NWA, a band whose full name you can't say on air anymore, but they were notorious LA-based rappers, and they did an entire record that had the parental advisory thing on the front.
That's right.
People have been talking about this since the days of Elvis, haven't they? The idea that music is of itself a trigger to any type of behaviour, I find dubious.
I wonder if in this is a little different insofar as it's people perpetrating the crimes, then putting them up as songs celebrating the act, and so they're saying
like the narcos do in Mexico, where they have like mariachis who go rogue and end up working for cartels.
Is that right?
Oh yeah,
mariachi bands.
There's an entire genre of Mexican music now called narco corridos. A corrido is a ballad, and you know there's songs like in 1884 Jose Luis rode his horse from Aguascalientes to Baja California and did heroic deeds, and you know those.
Yep.
It's like in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But there's all these underground bands in Mexico who actually get paid up and put on the payroll by all the different gangs like the Zetas.
Well, I think it's like that.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, that's probably a little bit more serious.
Australia Post is today unveiling 2 new stamps to commemorate 100 years of men's senior national soccer in Australia. They'll be unveiled in Melbourne this morning by Graham Arnold, current coach of the Socceroos in Australia Post. Should just be a big Andrew Redmayne postage stamp, shouldn't it? Just doing the sort of the big Starman jump.
Yeah, that's right. When you go to put on the envelope, it starts jumping around madly.
Well, that would be a fitting tribute, I would have thought. This story, if you haven't seen it online, you need to. Protesters who stormed the residences of the Sri Lankan President and Prime Minister are vowing to stay until they officially resign. Thousands of demonstrators gathered in Colombo to express their anger over economic mismanagement, food and fuel shortages crippling the country. Both leaders have said they will step down, but protesters want it to be made official. They are swimming in the pool of the President's Palace. People are taking it in turns to get pictures laying on his bed.
It's a bit like the last days of Marcos in the Philippines, where people busted into the presidential palace and stole like monogram towels that had Ferdinand and Imelda stitched into them. But real people power type thing, isn't it?
It is. There doesn't seem to be, unless I've missed it, particularly violent either, because there's no resistance. The President, the suggestion is on a naval vessel offshore somewhere for his safety. The Prime Minister is on a naval base at the moment being looked after. So there's no resistance. They've just walked in and occupied the place. It's a sad story, actually, because this is the war in Ukraine, this is inflation, this is all these global economic pressures being brought to bear on a country that was already trending in the wrong direction. So there was no wiggle room. Sri Lanka already had deep embedded economic troubles, and this has just put them in a situation where they've now got things like rolling blackouts. They literally can't keep the power on. It's the end point of mismanagement, and maybe it's been brought about quicker by what's been happening, but it's a sad story for a country that is, in terms of Asia, is not particularly poor.
No.
It's reasonably well off.
I'll tell you what, there'll be a heck of a lot of people here in Adelaide following it too, because we've got a huge Sri Lankan community.
Beautiful people, Sri Lankans. Yeah, they are just magnificent.
And excellent cooks.
All right, let's talk about the weather. As Mark made mention of on the Automasters text line, it's cool, but it's today like a heat wave compared to yesterday. It's 10.9 degrees outside at the moment, -1 in Canberra. So toasty, you might even suggest. 14 will be the top. It's not getting a whole lot warmer, up to 4 mils of rain a little bit later today. 14 tomorrow as well on Tuesday and 2 mils of rain. It's dry on Wednesday, top of 15. Same for Thursday and dry. A little drizzle around on Friday and a top of 15. Saturday up to 3 mils and 16. Sunday it's 15 up to a max of 15, but 8 mils of rain potentially, so a little bit of rain about the place come the latter part of the week. Tom Wren is in the 5AA Breakfast studio. He has been for the last 2 weeks, but I mean he's wandered back in this morning from the newsroom. New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10 years cap price servicing, Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, boys. Great to have you back as well. Hope you had a nice little break. And
that was good, Tom.
Feeling refreshed.
Good to chat to you last week. You guys were doing a cracking job.
Thank you for doing that.
No, not at all.
Good to be back.
Yeah, very good to be back. Yeah, as we were saying at the start of the show, there's no better place to live in Australia, indeed anywhere, I think, than Adelaide.
So true. Sometimes you need to go away to realise that.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Just to
remind yourself.
Exactly right. Fellas, let's start with the winners and losers for our segment today. No bigger winner than Novak Djokovic, of course, 7th Grand Slam at Wimbledon overnight and 21st overall. Just a little bit too good for Nick Kyrgios.
Djokovic, a 7th Wimbledon, a 21st Grand Slam. 6-4, 7-6.
Audio there, thanks to Channel 9. Got to say, because it was Nick Kyrgios, were you as passionate about getting up and watching it?
If not for the fact that I was coming back to work today, I would have loved to have watched that game, just because you got two total psychopaths out there going toe-to-toe. Now,
who now love each other.
Doing the newspaper editor's test, if Kyrgios had won, do you bump the edition up 20,000 tomorrow, and do you do the don't miss the Nick Kyrgios tribute poster? See, this contest, like, Kyrgios, I don't hate the guy, but crikey, he's just like you could set your watch by making a half foot of himself once every month and then being genial for the next fortnight. Like, he's just this sort of mixed bag of, assorted weirdness.
Nick Kyrgios now, I've got this theory that I think's been borne out over the course of Wimbledon. You know, everyone knows the right answer in relation to reality TV is it's rubbish. It's rubbish, and I wish they wouldn't put it on. But then you look at the ratings, and reality TV does really well.
Yeah.
So there's a whole cohort of people who I think know the right answer is reality TV is rubbish, but then watch it anyway. I reckon that's Australia's relationship with Nick Kyrgios.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I hate him. No, I can't stand him. Oh, he's no good. Definitely watch him.
Yeah, you have to watch him.
Definitely watch him.
Playing against Djokovic in particular.
He pushed him. He
Yeah,
did really well.
Definitely want him to beat Djokovic.
So 4-set win for Djokovic. He's the big winner. Kyrgios a loser, but he's not really. He's a winner for getting there. First since 2003 on the men's side to make it. Philippoussis. Not to be this time. Maybe he'll get another chance. Winners as well from the weekend. Let's go to footy. Port Adelaide, they're winners. I called that game on AA. 40 minutes of really great football. The second half was imminently forgettable.
The second half, like no one scored a goal.
It was horrible. The goal, GWS should have been a lot closer than they were. They missed some bad ones, but Port held on. They just remain alive for the finals.
So I was going to ask you that, Rennie. So they're playing the football they're playing at the moment is clearly good enough.
Yeah.
But mathematically, how hard is it from this point?
Well, it's because of the draw they've got. Melbourne away, Geelong at home, Collingwood away, Richmond at home.
And probably need to win out?
Probably need to win all of them.
Okay.
But
there's weird things happening upstairs in the 8, though.
Well, there is.
Like Brisbane lost.
And
the Bulldogs got thumped by Sydney. Like
they're not playing Melbourne at the MCG. It's at Alice Springs, TIO
Melbourne
Stadium.
Melbourne are a little bit sketchy.
And Clayton Oliver will miss with a broken thumb. So that's a huge advantage. The other big winner from the weekend, before we get to the losers, the big loser, I thought, from the weekend, this effort from Noah Anderson for Gold Coast after the siren against Richmond.
The Suns trail by 4 points. Anderson to win it. From right half forwards, Noah Anderson, the walk-off winner for the Gold Coast Suns.
So happy after consecutive losses by under a goal for Stuart Dew, who's just re-signed. They're in the right direction. They're going really well, the Suns, so that was great for them. I'll tell you who's not going in the right direction. Yesterday's performance by the Crows was disgraceful. That first half is as bad a football as I've seen for 5 years. No intensity, skill level appalling. I can't see the progression at the moment. Now, I don't know if I'm overreacting to one game, but that was horrendous.
Yeah. The effort. I mean, listen to Dermy, of all people, Hawthorn, great at half-time, just rubbing it in. But I had to agree with him. He was going, where's the intensity? Where's the passion? Like, there were guys who were sort of doing these little half tackles, and there were guys standing back like seagulls waiting for a chip, waiting for the ball to head their way. You know.
Second half was better, but the damage had been done.
Yeah, if you get yourself into that much strife. The person I feel really sorry for in games like yesterday is Nixie.
Yeah.
Like, the game starts, he's like, oh, no. And then so you put the extra man back in the third quarter and cut loose to try to win, but...
And it felt like we've seen that movie so many times before, didn't it? You know, Laird, Crouch, Keys, they had 100 touches between them, but 600 metres gained. I mean, 6 metres per possession.
The danger for the club is that for the fair weather fans, and I'm in that bracket, the fair weather fans, like, what's it going to do to crowd numbers and all of that?
I don't know what the sales pitch right now is to buying a ticket.
No, because I've got other stuff I can do than watch crap like that.
So they're in a world of hurt at the moment. 5 wins for the season. Charles Leclerc, he's a big winner. And the Aussie cricketers, they're in a bit of trouble. So potentially a loser, but hopefully they can get out of it the next 2 days.
Good on you, Randy.
Thanks, boys. Good
Thanks,
stuff.
Tom.
10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing at Agostino, Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Barnacle Bill's Seafood Signature Bonus Meal now on. Sumptuous fish, freshly cut fishettes, succulent prawns, calamari and chicken tenderloins. Enjoy all of Barnacle Bill's signature seafood favourites in one pack. All served with Barnacle Bill's tartare sauce plus bonus chips and a 1.25 litre Coke. All for $29.90. And for your convenience, phone ahead. Order, collect, don't wait. Feed the whole crew with Barnacle Bill quality seafood at a sensational price.
Fresh from the sea, it's gotta be Barnacle Bill.
Barossa Village in Angaston, Tanunda and Noorauppa gives you the retirement lifestyle you deserve and the safety and security you need to make you feel at home.
Now more than ever, Barossa Village understands how important it is to stay connected with friends, family and the local community. That's why they've invested heavily in the pathways for integrated care, including independent living, supported accommodation, in-home care and residential care options.
And the best is yet to come with a new cluster of architecturally designed 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes in Noorauppa starting late 2022. That's in addition to the recently built community hydrotherapy pool and expansion of our residential care facilities.
So forget the sea change or the tree change and try a vine change.
Trust Barossa Village for a safe, secure and more fulfilling life. Go to barossavillage.org.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers developing 14 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? FIVEAA Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
Well, Nick Kyrgios couldn't get the job done against Novak Djokovic in the Wimbledon final overnight, but it wasn't a walkover. The Aussie took the first set before the Serb took control of the match. Kyrgios pleased for the experience of his first Grand Slam final.
I've got that under my belt now, a Wimbledon finalist, and I can kind of draw from experience. So I felt like I belong there. I feel like my game and my level's always been there. It's just I feel like I've kind of put it together a little bit this week, these couple of weeks.
From today, another 7.5 million Australians are eligible for a fourth dose of a COVID vaccine. Katie Fuller reports.
Australia is battling another wave of COVID-19 as the Omicron variant spreads and puts pressure on hospitals. We're being urged to protect ourselves by getting a fourth dose of the COVID vaccine. The expert panel on immunisation is recommending people over 50 get the winter booster. People aged 30 to 49 are encouraged. You can get a fourth shot 3 months after your third.
And 600 pharmacies and GPs will be administering shots in SA. Health Minister Chris Picton says several hubs also remain open.
We still have the Noarlunga mass vaccination hub, which will be staying open. Wavell hub will be closing on Thursday, and that will be converting to the Myer Centre hub to continue on. And we also have Elizabeth GP Plus and a centre at 77 King William Street, North Adelaide.
Rising overheads have caused the cost of building a home to skyrocket. In the last 12 months, residential construction costs have increased 10%. CoreLogic's Tim Lawless says outside of the introduction of GST, that's the highest annual growth rate on record.
Anecdotally, we are hearing more and more builders reporting very high costs coming out of factors like fuel, freight, electricity. Overheads are also becoming more expensive in items like rent, for example.
The Aboriginal flag will fly over the Sydney Harbour Bridge, but a third flagpole won't be built. Clinton Maynard has the story.
The state government won't be spending $25 million to erect a new flagpole. Instead, the Aboriginal flag will replace the New South Wales flag. The money that had been allocated for the new pole will go towards Indigenous initiatives. The New South Wales flag will feature as part of the redevelopment of Macquarie Street East. Premier Dominic Perrottet says flying the Aboriginal flag is a celebration of our nation's rich history.
The Sri Lankan president is believed to have fled the island following the storming of the palace. A member of the governing party insists that he will return by Wednesday when he's due to resign. Abe Wadena says he'll be back.
At the moment, he's somewhere out in a nearby country. He will come back on Tuesday. Wednesday, he will be here. According to our constitution, I will have to look after till the proper president, proper way is appointed. There are going to be a vote in the House.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Aussie Nick Kyrgios believes Novak Djokovic's composure was key in the Wimbledon final after going down in 4 sets. Kyrgios unravelled when level at 4-4 in the third set, forfeiting a 40-love lead to allow Djokovic to break his serve. Djokovic says he knew his experience in big matches would give him the edge over the Australian.
Not that he's not composed, but he has never played in the Wimbledon finals, and we know that also he kind of has his ups and downs in the match.
Adelaide is back in the bottom 4 on the AFL ladder after suffering a 32-point loss against Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium yesterday. Mitch Lewis led the way with 5 goals for the Hawks, while Darcy Fogarty and Riley Thilthorpe each booted 2 for the Crows. Meantime, Carlton has kept its hopes of a top 4 finish alive with a 63-point thumping victory over West Coast. The Blues currently sit in 5th on the ladder, but are only percentage from 4th place to Brisbane. Coach Michael Voss, though, says they're not talking finals yet.
I haven't spoken to this group about finals and I won't.
So the conversation around finals is just not a conversation we're having. We're pretty determined to get the best version of ourselves that gives us the best chance to get prepared for really big games, and we've got some big ones coming. But the danger that you can go with is you take your eyes off the road and you forget about the next contest you've got to play.
One other game yesterday, and it was a big upset too, with Essendon beating Brisbane by 10 points at the Gabba. And Ferrari Charles Leclerc has won the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of Max Verstappen, while Lewis Hamilton was third. Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finished ninth. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast. Showers developing and 14 for your Monday. Showers tomorrow and 14. And then Wednesday partly cloudy, 15. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. You won't find a better range of cars covering the entire region from Gawler to the Barossa Valley and Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip or well worth the click.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Here's who you can support around Adelaide. How close is too close? Stay 10 metres away from downed power lines. You'll be shocked by what you don't know. For more information on electrical safety, look up SA Power Networks. Need a new bathroom? Choose from stunning Beaumont's complete bathroom package range. With new packages designed by award-winning Shayna Blaze just released, you'll be happy you chose Beaumont's. 5AA, supporting local business.
If you could punch cancer in the face, would you? What about heart disease, kidney disease, stroke or diabetes? Would you fight them too? Well, we are, and we need your help. When you support the Hospital Research Foundation, you join the fight to find cures and improve care in more than 50 areas of medical research, and you make an impact. The Hospital Research Foundation Group. Together, fight.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 7. Jimmy on the Automasters text line says last night went to town for the Illuminate show. There was 1,000 people in line, freezing, got rugged up and went, wasted a trip to town, said I'm not waiting an hour in freezing cold conditions. What a waste. Jimmy, didn't have the best time at Illuminate last night.
We had a good time. We went along to the Illuminate show at the zoo, which is fantastic. Great thing to do. You don't have to stay that long with kids, but I mean, it certainly was cold, but it is winter. It is to be expected.
The one they do in the Botanic Gardens, that Illuminate walkthrough, is spectacular.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the same thing at the zoo now.
No, isn't the zoo just the big illuminated animals?
Yeah, they've got them, but there's also other parts of the zoo that are lit up as well with different lighting, and there's really nice sort of thing with jellyfish and reef fish and all of that, and you can see the pelicans. They all stand around at night, quite happy doing their thing.
The Botanic Gardens one is actually spectacular.
I've never been to that one.
We did the Melbourne Botanic Gardens do a version of it, but it's it's like someone saw it and went, I reckon I could do that with a few lights I bought from Bunnings. And it's not the same. Like, it's an artistic... The Botanic Gardens here in Adelaide, it's an artistic installation. It's some of the stuff is just remarkable that they do.
Maybe the one they did in Melbourne, they got the same people who did that Winter Wonderland thing down at Noongar.
That went well, didn't it? What a shocker. Boris Johnson, everyone's emptied the dirt file because he's on the way out. You may have...
is he?
Well... Yeah, just a matter of when. It seems like it's just...
If you're gone, you're gone. Shouldn't he just go?
Yes.
Well, what's the point of hanging around?
Well, he's got his wedding coming up. He's got some stuff, that he'd like to get out of the way first. It is ludicrous.
He's got a few more parties he'd like to go to.
He should go, but the dirt file's being emptied, and one of the most recent things to have been discussed in the UK is the cost of this sumptuous refurbishment of number 10 that he indulged in at the cost of some £200,000. His sister, Rachel Johnson, has a show on LBC, the talkback station in London, and she had a bit to say, obviously, about the end of his prime ministership, but also about those allegations.
Just say one more thing about the Downing Street flat. Would you be interested in that? I mean, the absolute BS I have read about this flat. the £800 rolls of wallpaper that I have never seen, the sumptuous redecoration that hasn't taken place. I have been in that flat and I promise you it is not 5-star sumptuous. In fact, Boris and Carrie don't even have a salad bowl. The whole thing has been cooked up and I do not understand it. I can't begin to understand it. And we don't even talk about it. It's all so bonkers.
Might not have a salad bowl, but LBC themselves on their website reporting that some of the items on this itemised list of things that the invoices that added up to £200,000. So they included a bunch of 10 rolls of wallpaper costing £225 each, a £3,675 drinks trolley, 2 sofas worth more than £15,000, dining chairs costing £11,200, the cheapest item, a kitchen tablecloth valued at £500.
£500
for a tablecloth.
My God. Well, at least they're not going to drip vinaigrette from the salad bowl on it, because they haven't got a salad bowl. What do you get the man who's got everything? A salad bowl.
Well, no, they don't have a salad bowl because they bankrupted the country, probably, in refurbishing the rest of it.
What about his sister, though? Like, imagine using your show to do that. It's extraordinary, isn't it?
That's the kind of thing people would go, only in Adelaide would you have the head of the state and their sister having a radio show. It's London. It's just happening in London, by the way.
It's extraordinary.
Over in Russia...
Macca's?
Newly opened fast food chain that's not Macca's. In fact, it's called Tasty and That's It.
Oh, we mentioned this before we went on leave. Tasty and That's It.
Yeah, well, they've got a problem.
They put cucumber in their hamburgers.
They do. Well, they no longer serve hot chips either because there's no potatoes. There's a shortage of the potato required to make fries. So they're not doing it anymore. So
the red russet. I think it's called the red russet potato.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, they got rid of...
It's the biggest potato of all.
The golden arches and the catch cry. Would you like fries with that? They expect to have fries back on the menu by the northern autumn, according to the BBC.
Can they get lettuce, I wonder?
Well,
this
is
using
just
cabbage as well.
It's an opportune moment to ask people then, given the shortages that exist, what are the sorts of things that right now you're either going without willingly, not willingly, but because of the cost, or the things that you can't find anymore because either the costs have gone up so much they're hard to produce, there's a shortage because of, a third of the world's wheat's made in Ukraine and grown in Ukraine, and that's not happening at the moment. Well, let us know. What have you gone without, or what can't you get right now? What was once Macca's in Russia can't get potatoes. I mean, there would be people in parts of Australia that are going without lettuce and things.
Yeah.
Businesses certainly are. Sunflower oil in parts of the world is a big one that people are doing without at the moment.
The price of cooking oil, that was the first thing I noticed about 2 months ago. Vegetable oil was up to $10 for 2 litres, and that's normally the most... I suppose you could buy those big 4-litre cans of it, but yeah, just across the board. I think a lot of people will have changed their habits. I mean, I bought a lettuce yesterday, it was $10. A lot of money.
That's crazy. 8223 text us on the Automasters text line, 0480 1395.
Good one from Rob. He says, would you like borscht with that? What about sweet potatoes? You can make sweet potato chips.
You can?
Can you still get sweet potatoes? They're not Ukrainian, they're tropical, aren't they? Aren't they grown in tropical areas?
That's a great question.
I think Australia is one of the biggest producers of sweet potatoes.
Australia is, and not much is made of this because it's not the time to talk about our good fortune, but almost everything that there is a shortage of in the world at the moment, we produce.
Yeah.
There's a shortage of the raw materials to make energy, power, coal.
We're just not allowed to dig them up.
No, we're just,
gas,
right. Coal.
No, not
wheat,
using that.
Yeah, all the stuff that we're running out of, we kind of have. 8223 what are you running out of? What have you gone without? What have you foregone willingly because of the cost or the state of things at the moment? Let us know. 8223 text us on the Automasters text line. We're going to check traffic for the first time this morning. There's still time. Join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future at
Thanks, Will, and welcome back. Roads working well this morning. Do have some road works to look out for, however. At Beverley, urgent civil works, Port Road near Ledger Road. At Brighton, we've got a burst water main this morning, Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Ketterwood Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. And Campbelltown, you'll find gas main replacement works, Newton Road near Montague Road. Cameras this morning, Anderson Walk, Smithfield Plains, and Springbank Road at Clapham. Order your C coffee on the OTR app and enjoy a freshly ground barista-made coffee. It's as easy as click and collect. OTR. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient. Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
Can I have a flat white to take away, thanks?
Sure, that'll be $10.
Sorry? But the cafe down the road has the same coffee beans and the same milk for only $4.
Yeah, well, ours is $10, Dale.
Ah, I see.
Should have gone to Specsavers, because whether you're buying coffee or hearing aids, you shouldn't have to pay top dollar for top-of-the-range features. Book a free 15-minute hearing check today at specsavers.com.au/hearing. Conditions apply.
Growing up, the best part of school holidays was always going to the movies. If you had kids in the 90s, you probably remember taking them to Toy Story, for example.
Well, then this school holidays, how about a trip down memory lane? Take the kids or the grandkids to see Lightyear at Reading Cinemas.
There's plenty for kids to see at Reading Cinemas, like the hilarious Minions, The Rise of Gru, and Thor, Love and Thunder, action, nostalgia, and comedy in spades.
That's right, and there's nothing better than seeing it from the comfort of a recliner in the Titan Luxe Cinema with Quake sound. If you're after something for yourself, take your partner to see the movie everyone's talking about, Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. Rock and roll is back with a spectacle, and you'd expect nothing less from Baz.
See it all at Reading Cinemas, Elizabeth and Westlakes. Kids tickets from just $13 at readingcinemas.com.au.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
13 to 7, we're off to London shortly. We'll take you to Wimbledon with a fallout from Nick Kyrgios. First set was good. Came unstuck a little bit after that. Vince Rowland, senior forecaster at the Bureau, joins us. It's felt positively British, some of the weather here in Adelaide over the last few days. Good morning to you, Vince.
Yeah, morning, guys.
What's it been like this morning?
Yeah, look, much warmer than we got across the city yesterday. Got down to 8.5 degrees in the city as a minimum, up to 10.8 at the moment. So, yeah, much warmer than what we saw yesterday, where we ended up with a minimum of 2.7 degrees in Adelaide. So it was the coldest morning since August last year. So, yeah, pretty chilly over the weekend. But, look, maximum temperatures aren't going to change much. Looking at a top of 14 degrees today, and a bit of cloud around this morning, and that's just some mid-level cloud just ahead of this trough or front that's going to move across the south of the state today. So we will see some showers developing during this afternoon, continuing into the early evening. Maybe the odd drop around this morning just from this mid-level cloud. There's a little bit on the radar, but most of it's not reaching the ground, but might get the odd drop or two. But top of 14 degrees in the city, a little bit cooler up in the hills, Mount Barker 12, and around the coastal fringes we've got Noarlunga 13 degrees today, and up in the north we've got 13 for Elizabeth. Not much changing tomorrow as far as temperatures go. An overnight low of 8, top of 14 tomorrow. Now, we do go into a southwesterly airstream, and so likely to see a little bit more shower activity during the late morning and early afternoon tomorrow, but not expecting too much, maybe a millimetre or two. And today, even though we've got that front coming through, probably only going to see a few millimetres across the city. As we head into the middle of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, got a couple of days of 15 degrees, a bit cooler, and overnight minimums down to about 6 or 7, but just a slight chance of a shower. Not expecting anything really out of those showers if we do see anything, but it's more likely that we'll see some more shower activity over the weekend with another front moving through. So we've got 15 for Friday, maybe up to a millimetre or so. 16 for Saturday, again a millimetre or two across the city, and then more likely to see some good showers on Sunday as the front comes through with a top of 15 degrees.
Good stuff, Vince. Thanks very much for that, mate.
No worries.
Senior forecaster Vince Rowlands from the Weather Bureau. Let's head over to SAPOL. Senior Constable Dave Muir joins us. Dave, a couple of drink drivers arrested in a couple of separate incidents overnight.
Yeah, look, the first one was around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. Patrols were called to a service station on Brighton Road at Brighton after a Mitsubishi utility actually collided with a pole near the Bowsers as the driver left the servo. Now, police attended the registered owner's address at Hallett Cove a short time later and breath tested him, and he returned an alleged blood alcohol reading of 0.220, so more than 4 times the legal limit. The 40-year-old from Hallett Cove was reported for drink driving, and he's also lost his licence on the spot for 12 months. And then just after 4:30 this morning, patrols were called to Strangways Terrace, North Adelaide, after a driver took a wrong turn, a hook or a slice, into a driveway at a golf course and crashed into a bollard. Now, the driver, a 23-year-old Parafield Gardens woman, was allegedly intoxicated. She failed to comply with a breath test analysis and instead was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital to have a blood sample taken. Now, neither she or her male passenger were injured. The driver was reported to failing to comply with the breath analysis, drink driving without due care, and breaching the conditions of her probationary licence. So she was also issued with a 12-month instant loss of licence, and her car was impounded for 28 days. She'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date. So obviously none of that drive for show, putt for dough that you require when on a golf course.
No, and the old declining the breath test historically hasn't worked very well, has it, Dave?
It doesn't work.
No.
You know, we don't just turn, okay, then thanks, no worries.
That's right. Also, 2 blokes have been arrested after a break-in at Ferryden Park.
Yeah, this was around 10:30 last night. We had reports of some possible intruders at an occupied property on Durham Terrace. Now, on arrival, patrols did find that a front window was open and there was evidence inside the property that it had been rummaged through. So patrols quickly set up cordons and located a duo at the rear of the house a short time later, allegedly in possession of property stolen from that unoccupied house. So a 44-year-old of no fixed address and a 36-year-old man from Woodville Gardens, both charged with serious criminal trespass and going equipped. Neither of them were given bail, and they're going to front the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
Good stuff, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks.
Senior Constable Dave Muir from SAPOL. Well, for a little while last night, it looked like our cross to Wimbledon might be to celebrate Australia's latest Wimbledon champion. We had Ash Barty last year. This year, Nick Kyrgios was a set to the good against Novak Djokovic last night. Wasn't to be. Miley Hogan was watching it all for 7 News and is at Wimbledon. Miley, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How you going?
We're good, thanks, Miley. Now, with the stupid early morning wake-up regime we have to abide by, neither of us watched the game at all last night. But what was the crowd like in terms of their attitude towards Kyrgios? Did it feel like, when he won that first set, did it feel like the crowd were on his side?
Yeah, well, look, you missed out on a pretty fantastic game. Nick Kyrgios is never boring to watch. He is a showman. He does, really gets the crowd. Well, he gets some people on side, some people offside is probably how you would say it. But it did appear that he did have the backing of the crowd. And I spoke to a number of people after the game, a number of Brits and Aussies that were in the crowd about how they felt about the result. They did say, the better tennis player won tonight, but they loved what the ones I spoke to really enjoyed watching Nick Kyrgios. A lot of them saying that he was good for tennis, that he brings something different to the game, and they enjoyed that kind of showman that and that style of tennis that he does bring.
Mm.
Did it evolve over the week, Miley? Because he had a couple of prickly encounters with journalists. Was he warmed to instantly, or has it been a sort of a slow burn?
I think it would be fair to say that it has been a slow burn. I mean, Nick Kyrgios is a divisive character, so people either like him or they don't. But he definitely was controlled and composed in his first set of this game tonight. He won that set. But then his attitude certainly escalated, and we saw the Nick Kyrgios that we're used to, where there was this back and forth with the chair umpire. He was yelling at his own support team. He wants, his girlfriend, his sister, his father who was standing there. He wants them up all the time, supporting him. He seems to get quite frustrated with them. It's part of the show. Who knows if he's actually angry or upset with them, or if it's just a way of him venting his frustration. But he did have this pretty interesting interaction with a spectator in the crowd. I'm not sure if you've seen the clip, but there was an intoxicated lady in the crowd. Nick Kyrgios said looked like she'd had about 700 beers. So he did want that woman removed from the crowd.
Did the crowd laugh when he said it? Was he getting a few laughs when he said it about it?
Oh, look, Twitter absolutely blew up. That is becoming the new Australian slang, one hell of a Sunday session, 700 beers at Wimbledon. But I did speak to a few spectators who spotted this woman. I haven't been able to find her or see any pictures of her, but a few spectators did say that she did deserve to be kicked out. So it would be interesting to see if anything more develops on that.
But she wasn't kicked out, was she?
Look, there's been mixed reports on that. I didn't see anyone moved. I've seen some people say that she was brought of water. Other people said she was moved out. The chair umpire definitely made a phone call. So I'm hoping to find out some more information. I'm sorry, I don't have a clear answer for you on that one.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
I think it's fair to say that all of these antics, though, Nick Kyrgios was impressive. He played some really skilled tennis. It just wasn't good enough to beat Novak Djokovic. He is so controlled and composed, and he's a champion, an absolute giant of the sport. He's won 7 Wimbledon trophies, 21 Grand Slams, and he's just such an impressive player. In Nick Kyrgios' post-match interview, he called him a god. So I think that really says it all.
Miley, thank you for that. Miley Hogan at Wimbledon for 7 News. What we do have for you is a couple of audio grabs of Kyrgios yelling at his support team for not cheering enough, which is it's become a feature of his game that I really enjoy. And also this exchange with this woman that he said had 700 drinks. We're going to play them for you after 7 o'clock as part of our news wrap, which will include too a discussion about some of the changes today for eligibility for your 4th COVID vaccination, and also some information that's come from the Health Department federally on how you can get access to antivirals now if you're in a cohort of people that are particularly susceptible to the worst of COVID. That's all ahead on 5AA Breakfast.
It's school holiday time and there is so much to do, particularly if you want to head to the Monarto Safari Park or the Adelaide Zoo. Elaine Benstead joins me now from Zoos SA. She's the Chief Executive. Elaine, thanks so much for joining me.
Lovely to have a chat.
What's happening specifically at the Monarto Safari Park these holidays?
So we always have some amazing things to see at each of our sites, apart from seeing all the amazing animals, and there's a lot of new ones at Monarto Safari Park. There's a new visitor centre, but we're also celebrating NAIDOC Week, and so giving people the opportunity to learn a bit of Nurundjeri language.
People love new animals. What new ones have been born at Monarto recently?
We've got our fabulous lion cubs. They're 5 months old and very, very playful and always out and about. We've also got 2 cheetah cubs, and I have to say, it's always hard as a zoo boss. You're not meant to have any favourites, but a baby cheetah just has to be one of the cutest things you've ever seen. We've also had a little giraffe calf, had a couple of addax, eland, zebra, so there's all sorts happening.
And how is the new visitor centre going?
Oh, look, it is absolutely fantastic. We love it and got a fabulous cafe.
I've also got to ask about the sister site, the Adelaide Zoo, and tying in with a magnificent Illuminate Adelaide show too.
Absolutely. So this is our 2nd year of Light Creatures, which is our part of the Illuminate Festival.
Elaine, what I love is this suits people of all ages. Monarto Safari Park, the Adelaide Zoo, make sure you get there.
Thanks, Tom.
Morning, Dave.
Hey, Dave, how's it going? That's good.
That was Dave before he discovered the incredible fully adjustable Ultramatic bed. Now he gets a great night's sleep and it's reduced his snoring. Dave sleeps like a baby and wakes up like...
Morning all! Beautiful day, isn't it?
Ultramatic beds. Truly life-changing. Ultramatic.com.au.
Business NBN can help give you the edge because it's made for businesses' evolving needs. You can choose from a range of high-speed plans and business-grade support, and it's all available from a range of providers. To find out more, search Business NBN. Made for more. Your experience may vary depending on your provider, plan, busy periods, when you use the internet and other factors.
Now, are you one of those people who lie awake at night worrying? And if you're not, are you worried that one day you might become one? If so, wouldn't it be great to calm your anxious thoughts and just drift away in a blissful sleep? Well, then Caruso's Mind Ease could be just what you need.
Caruso's Mind Ease is a once-a-day capsule that contains lavender oil to help relieve the symptoms of mild anxiety, restlessness and excess nervous energy, promoting a deep sleep and supporting refreshing sleep in adults.
So if you'd like to worry less and sleep more, try Caruso's Mind Ease today. Caruso's Mind Ease, available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, see your health professional.
Hi, Shayna Blaze here. As a designer, I know how tricky it can be to design the perfect bathroom. So I teamed up with Beaumont Tiles and created complete bathroom packages. Drop into Beaumont's for complete bathroom packages designed by me.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers developing and 14 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. PhysioExtra.com.
A car almost ended up on a fairway at the golf course in North Adelaide this morning. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it left Strangways Terrace around 4:30am.
The driver took a wrong turn, a hook or a slice, into a driveway at a golf course and crashed into a bollard. Now, the driver, a 23-year-old Parafield Gardens woman, was allegedly intoxicated. She failed to comply with a breath test analysis and instead was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital.
The driver's been reported for a string of offences, including driving without due care and breaching the conditions of her probationary licence. She was issued with a 12-month instant loss of licence and her car impounded for 28 days. The over-30s can roll up their sleeves for another COVID jab from today. The fourth dose of a vaccine is being rolled out across the state. Health Minister Chris Picton says those on the front line are encouraged to get the shot.
In particular, we know many health workers are really eager to make sure that they get access. And so that's why we'll be doing work across our health system as well to make sure it's easy for health workers to get access to that fourth dose as well.
Employers are being encouraged to let staff work from home and wear masks as the third Omicron wave sweeps the country. There were 3,039 cases in SA yesterday and 2 deaths reported. 240 people are in hospital, 9 in ICU, and 2 of those are ventilated. We're being urged to shop around and try something different, with the price of some fruit and veg soaring while others are going down. Lettuce and broccoli is up, but a good supply of avocados is making them more affordable. Dr. Christina Zorbas says there are some good buys out there.
Your bananas, your oranges, canned beans and frozen veggies are always good options. Eggs in terms of protein and canned tuna, apples, carrots.
Melbourne's acting Lord Mayor is trying to learn 50 Indigenous words and is urging others to do the same. Nick Rees says he hopes Aussies could learn from New Zealand, where more people learn the Maori language. Exit polls in Japan's election indicate that the governing coalition, led by the Liberal Democrats, will keep its majority. The election held 2 days after the assassination of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The BBC's Rupert Wingfield-Hayes reports.
Speaking to voters as they left a polling station in Tokyo this afternoon, every one of them told the same story. The death of Shinzo Abe at the hands of a gunman on Friday would not change their voting decision. Despite that, Mr Abe's old party, the LDP, is on its way to a widely predicted victory. On the whole, right-wing parties have done well in this election, while the traditional left-of-centre opposition parties have done badly. It is possible that parties which favour changing Japan's post-war constitution may have gained 2/3 of the seats in the upper house of parliament. If so, that could open the way for the LDP to make a new attempt to get rid of the famous Article 9, the section of Japan's constitution which declares this country a pacifist nation.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
There's been a very big tennis match overnight, Tom Wren.
Yeah, not the result Australian fans wanted, unfortunately. Novak Djokovic beating the Aussie Nick Kyrgios in 4 sets in the Wimbledon final. Some brutal ball striking from the world number 3 had Kyrgios on the back foot during the second and third sets after the Aussie took the opening set of the match. Kyrgios full of praise for his opponent in the post-match.
Hats off to him. That was a hell of a match. I thought I served well and I put myself in a position to win, but I just wasn't able to play those clutch points, well at all today.
A frustrated Matthew Nicks has been left to lament a lacklustre opening half that ultimately led to a 32-point loss against Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. The Crows trailed by 38 points at half-time, and although they put in a much better second half, the coach says the damage was done.
The most disappointing part was the way we started. We coughed the footy up, we didn't stick tackles. Everything we pride ourselves on week in, week out, we left somewhere.
2 other games to wrap up round 17 with Essendon 10-point winners against Brisbane, while Carlton crushed West Coast by 63 points. To cricket, and Sri Lanka's on top after day 3 of the second test against Australia in Galle, the home side reaching 6 for 431 at stumps, giving them an overall lead of 67 runs. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has breathed new life into his title hopes in the Formula 1 after beating Max Verstappen at the Austrian Grand Prix. Verstappen came second, Lewis Hamilton was third, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came ninth. And Luxembourg's Bob Jungels has won stage 9 of the Tour de France. Tadej Pogacar still leads with the overall yellow jersey. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
Roads working well this morning. We do have some road works to keep in mind. At Beverley, you'll find urgent sewer works there. Port Road near Ledger Road. We've got a best water main this morning at Brighton. That's Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. And Campbelltown, you'll find gas main replacement works there. Newton Road near Montague Road. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettlebell Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. And we're starting to get busy South Road at Karata Park. Keep an eye for camera 2, Anzac Highway, Ashford. Australian avocados are great value right now. They're everywhere. To celebrate, they're officially, unofficially sponsoring July. So hurry, get to your local shops and grab a few today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, 14 today with showers developing, showers tomorrow 14, Wednesday partly cloudy and 15. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
7 after 7, Stephen Rowe coming up in just a moment. I'm not sure what I'm more interested in hearing Rowe's take on, be it the Crows or Nick Kyrgios, but we'll get both of those from him in just a moment. You'll hear from Nick Kyrgios shortly too, as we wrap some of the big news stories. Of course, as you've heard in 5AA News with Tom Wren, wasn't able to get the job done against Novak Djokovic, but did himself no disservice in terms of his play. We'll play some of the audio grabs about some of his exchanges and let you be the judge of how the rest of the Nick Kyrgios experience did play out. Feels like just about everyone in Adelaide, every second person either got COVID or just coming out of having COVID at the moment. The latest wave is surging. 23,000 active cases in SA. That's got to be under. There's just no way they're all being reported.
No, there'd be people who've got it who are just thinking, oh, maybe it's just the flu. And, if that's your mindset, you should probably do something about it. I think the good news, though, is the fact that people over the age of 50, I mentioned before, I'm going into a Terry White pharmacy, jumped online yesterday, made my booking the moment the announcement was made by Professor Spurrier that over 50s can now get their 4th dose. And look, if it's going to help everybody get through this, then why not do it?
The Wayville vaccination clinic is set to close on Thursday, but Vax clinics at Enfield and in the Rundle Myer Centre will reopen on Friday. There's also a pop-up vax site planned for the CBD Parklands. The fourth COVID booster, as David just said, is available to anyone over the age of 30. Here's State Health Minister Chris Picton.
The eligibility for a fourth dose for people is significantly increasing tomorrow. So the call is out for people to now start rolling up their sleeves. If you're over the age of 50 in particular, there's a strong recommendation to make sure that you get your fourth dose of COVID-19 vaccine, and it's also available for people over the age of 30 as well, and certainly we'll be encouraging everybody to make sure that they're protected. We're certainly encouraging people to utilise the huge network of availability for vaccines right across the state. There's over 600 GPs and pharmacies where you can get access to your vaccine.
So there you go. It's recommended for everybody over 50. It's available for everybody over the age of 30. And look, there'd be people listening who still haven't had their third shot. And there were some figures that SA Health released last week that I was looking at showing that roughly 50% of the people who are currently in hospital aren't vaccinated. So half the people who end up with really bad COVID haven't been vaccinated. Now, if you overlay those numbers on, what is it, at least 90-odd% of the community has been vaccinated twice, it shows that you are manifestly vastly more likely to get really sick if you're not vaccinated. It makes perfect sense to go and do it.
The other component to this, and things that will change today, is access to antiviral medication that is fairly now widespread in other countries around the world. We bought them here in Australia, millions of them, these antiviral pills, a while back, but the distribution's been an issue. Access to those pills has been expanded, though, from today. So anyone over 70 can access antiviral medication that targets COVID from their GP, and same the other people that can do it. So everyone over 70, plus those who are over 50 with underlying health conditions, as well as immune-compromised adults, Indigenous and Torres Strait Islands over the age of 30. That cohort all has access now. So if you've got serious underlying health issues from 30, other more moderate health issues from 50, and everyone over 70 can get access to these. Here's the member for Hindmarsh and Federal Health Minister Mark Butler.
Part of the fact that the former government, to their credit, bought 1.3 million doses of those medicines. Up until now, they've essentially been sitting on shelves in warehouses instead of out there doing their job to prevent severe disease. We're seeing now 250,000 Australians with COVID today on official reports. That number is probably much higher given what we know about infection rates earlier. And as many as almost 4,000 people today are in hospital with COVID.
The Newgate Mood of the Nation report has just been released. They surveyed some 1,200 Australians from right across the country, asking them the things that concern them or they're most worried about. If you were to guess, what's the issue that right now is of most concern to Australians?
Cost of living.
Cost of living, absolutely right, is the most important issue. It's spiked interest in it from May to June. There's been a significant increase in the number of people who rate it as a top 3 issue. 40% of respondents rated as a top 3 issue. 68% said cost of living right now is extremely important. Interestingly, the 14th most important national priority is probably the one that decided the election in many respects, and that is the environment. It came in 14th out of 36. So that is something that has changed markedly post-election. The others, none of this is surprising, and it's an interesting snapshot about, some of the debates that dominate federal politics are so out of touch with the things that normal actual people are worried about.
Like transgender issues, where's that?
Yeah, not a factor. Healthcare, the economy, reducing domestic violence, affordable rental housing, aged care, increased welfare payments, lifting wages. Those are the things that matter most to Australians right now.
Yeah.
None of that should be surprising to anyone but those that only try and get a sense of what matters to Australians by listening to the top debates out of Canberra.
Yeah, that's right. All the culture wars nonsense. It's crazy. Hey, speaking about cost of living, we've been asking you folks, what are your household budget hacks to save money? What have you pulled back on, be it the iceberg lettuce or broccoli? Interesting story today in the Tiser about a study by Deakin University. Now, we know that all of the headlines have been negative for the last month about everything that's gone up. Iceberg lettuce is up 100%. broccoli 101%. But buried away in this report, this should have been the lead actually, because it's more helpful. These are the things that have either stayed the same or become cheaper. There's been no price change for bananas, nor for free-range eggs, canned tuna, red onion, sweet corn and carrots. And some things have gone down significantly, including oranges, apples, and tinned legumes like 4-bean mix. Now, if that's all you had in your shopping basket, there's dozens of dishes you can make with all of those things. I mean, you could start by making your own banana bread, because with bananas and eggs being the same price they were before the cost of living squeeze happened, instead of paying $4 per slice for those pre-packed school lunch boxes, make 10 times that much banana bread for less and save money. So some good tips there to get you thinking.
That is, actually, you're right. That's great information. All right, let's talk Nick Kyrgios, who last night went down in the Wimbledon final to Novak Djokovic, won the first set 6-4. Then Novak broke back and in the second, won the second set 6-3. Went on to win it 6-4, and then in a tiebreak in the fourth set. He did himself no disservice in terms of the tennis he played, Nick Kyrgios, and in that first set he was electric. But Novak Djokovic, as we know, is one of the greats to have ever done it, and you need to be better than just good to beat him in a final like at Wimbledon last night. But to the question of how Nick conducted himself on the day, we spoke with Miley Hogan in Wimbledon just before 7 o'clock this morning. There was a couple of flashpoints. I tell you what, the most dangerous place to be sitting in a Nick Kyrgios match is within his supporter group, because you're going to come in for some treatment if you're not cheering loudly enough.
Why do you stop? Why? Why do you? Say something!
He wasn't happy with how quiet they were during big points.
The interesting thing about this is that these people actually love him so much that they fly all over the world to follow him around. They actually choose to do this. They must all have Stockholm Syndrome. It's bizarre.
The headliner and the one...
Imagine that. Imagine it's like making dinner for your family and they just came out going, "What is this garbage? Why do you hate me? I don't like this. This is a roast. This is the worst roast I've ever had."
Maybe that's what he does. I don't know.
What's he like on Christmas Day?
Well, it depends. He won't like it on Christmas
you call
Day.
That a trifle?
If you have too much to drink, because he pointed out someone in the crowd that he thought had a couple too many.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be coming down to your opinion. Distracting me when I'm serving in a Wimbledon final. There's no other bigger occasion. You didn't believe me, and then she did it again. It nearly cost me the game. Yeah, okay, but why is she still here? Because she's drunk out of her mind in the first row, speaking to me in the middle of the game. What's acceptable? Nothing is acceptable. Okay, so keep her out. I don't know which one it is. I know exactly which one it is. So tell me. It's the one in the dress with the one that looks like she's had about 700 drinks, bro.
Looked like she'd had about 700 drinks, bro. Miley Hogan, they weren't sure whether the woman's actually been kicked out or whether they brought her a bottle of water, which I'm not sure.
Bacon and egg roll.
I was wondering in a moment of frustration whether he'd lashed out irrationally at someone who might have not had 700 drinks, but the reporting subsequent is that he was probably about right.
Setting that aside, though, you get the feeling, though, that Kyrgios can't perform unless he has a hate figure. And he needs to generate this sort of energy through anger to get himself up. And when he played the world's most polite, was it the Chilean bloke that he played?
Tsitsipas. Was it Tsitsipas?
Well, no, that was different because that was like a barroom brawl. But the match afterwards, when he played that really genial Asian American guy, looked like someone you'd find in your accounts department, who just also happened to be quite a good tennis player. Like the guy was just like a sort of tennis playing robot. He had zero personality. But there were moments during that game where Kyrgios just started firing. It was almost like he had some imaginary friend in his brain, like Mr. Snuffleupagus, who he started screaming at. Because the guy was giving him nothing in terms of the hatred that he needed to get himself through the match. It's fascinating to watch.
Studying
psychological symposium about the bloke.
Studying human psychology. I got a text through from someone who makes the point that Prince George might have learned some new words last night as well.
Yes.
He was exposed to some language that might not.
Where did you hear that, George? At the tennis.
From the Australian. Maureen at Point Pass has called in on the question of things that we're having to go without, either because they're missing from shelves at the moment or indeed the cost has just made them prohibitive. Maureen, what are you doing without?
Good morning. Nice to hear your voices again.
Yours too, Maureen. I always love hearing your voice.
Now, to start with, I live a long way from the big shopping centres, like Elizabeth and such like, and I really can't afford the petrol. The second point is when I think it was last week, pensioners got free trips on public transport. Did you hear about that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I reckon people like me who live out in the country and have to drive 70 kilometres to do the shopping should get petrol vouchers.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Maureen.
There's not much you get out of CBD free transport, is there?
Well, I haven't been on a bus for the past 30 years.
Yeah. Being in Point Pass, what's the nearest sort of big shopping centre for you, Maureen?
The nearest is Gawler, but there is no fashion or anything like that in Gawler. You have to go farther down to Elizabeth to find ladies' shops, and all that.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point.
A good point.
A lot of country people have forgotten. I mean,
they always
even like Adelaide Hills people, crying out for proper public transport.
So much policy debate in this country is carried out as though the only people it relates to live within 10 k's of the CBD.
That's right.
It's 20 minutes after 7. We're going to check traffic, then take a break. Then we'll get Stephen Rowe's thoughts on Nick Kyrgios, the Crows, and the Power. That's coming up. I would make sure I hang around for a few minutes to have a listen to what he's got to say this morning. There's still time. Join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samribright.org.au.
Thanks, Will. Roads working well this morning. However, we do have some road works to look out for. At Beverley, you'll find urgent sewer works there, Port Road near Ledger Road. At Brighton, we've got a burst of water main this morning. That's Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. And Campbelltown, you'll find gas main replacement works there. That's Newton Road near Montague Road. Getting busy at the moment, South Road at Karata Park with cameras Anzac Highway, Ashford, and Moringi Avenue at North Plimpton. Whatever the industry, whatever the workwear, Totally Workwear can help. For workwear for tradies through to uniforms for nurses, head to Totally Workwear, Australia's largest workwear supplier. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
The RSPCA is celebrating the end of what they call the deadliest form of horse racing, and that's jumps racing, now only in Victoria. So what's next on their bucket list? Rebecca Ayres.
9 till 12 weekdays.
We are so elated at the news that came out, feeling really proud to be a South Australian when we have a significant improvement in animal welfare like this. Feeling really grateful.
As SA, as Leon Biner. As SA, as AA.
I used to just be Jack. But now that I own a small business, I'm also Jack from Finance. Jacko the social media dude.
If you run a small business, then you need Thrive. All-in-one management software built for small businesses like yours. Search THRYV Thrive.
What's got Mike singing? Mike just got an energy-efficient heat pump installed by EcoVantage. Not only is it using nearly 80% less energy than his old hot water system and saving hundreds off his power bills, he got it for free. Thanks to federal and SA government incentives, you can get your own energy-efficient heat pump from just $0. Pump your energy bills down with EcoVantage. Visit ecovantage.com.au.
Now, having your own patch of land is the great Australian dream, and one of life's simple pleasures is mowing that patch. Well, right now, mowing might not be a weekly task at this time of year, but you can always give it some love with a little help from Stanford Mowers. Now, this is such a good place. I went out there just before the 2-week break and met up with Ben and Archie. If you're a garden person, if you're someone who takes pride in how your yard looks, and you haven't been out there to Jeps Cross, not a very long drive out of town, just up there on Main North Road, absolutely fantastic. They've been helping South Aussies take care of their patch of land for years and years. And the good thing is they haven't got a warehouse full of other stuff that you know is going to break the first time you use it. They've just got mowers and the best garden power tools available. And also, this new range of Ego battery garden tools, absolutely fantastic. They've got all the power of petrol tools now. So keep your patch looking great, even in winter, with the range of premium brands from the excellent people at Stanford Mowers. Go see them, as I've done, at 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross, or check out their great website, stanfordmowers.com.au.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tyres. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tyres are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttyres.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tyres.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
Hi, Shayna Blaze here. As a designer, I know how tricky it can be to design the perfect bathroom. So I teamed up with Beaumont Tiles and created complete bathroom packages. Drop into Beaumont's for complete bathroom packages designed by me.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
24 after 7, massive night in sport, huge weekend. Means it's an opportune moment to chat with Stephen Rowe. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way. Morning to you, Rowie.
Bembo and Will, welcome back. I'm still in Melbourne. I got bumped off my Virgin flight, probably because I support the Crows. Don't know, but maybe that's what it is. Hey, can I start with Nick Kyrgios and Novak Djokovic Wimbledon final? Look, I sat up and watched it with Jody last night. Well, in parts, it was a lose-lose for me. I just can't get in behind Nick, and I think that is a tad un-Australian, but just on Novak. 4th Wimbledon crown in a row. You've heard all the stats. 7th overall, his 21st Grand Slam title. He is an unbelievable talent and competitor, isn't he? Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, he is.
He's one of the greats.
I don't think you're on your own, though, being a bit torn about whether to barrack for Kyrgios or not. I think a lot of Australians feel the same way. You don't have to barrack for someone. Like,
no,
you don't have to like everyone from Australia because you're from Australia.
Well, I feel I do. I feel it's my honour to support an Australian overseas representing Australia in a tournament like Wimbledon, a Grand Slam title. But does he think he's entertaining and blaming his box? He is a mental midget, this bloke, on the court, isn't he? He just grit your teeth, mate. He represents Australia. He didn't do it for me. I mean, his tennis is unbelievable in parts. Remember, he got into that final because Rafa pulled out because he was injured. So in some part, he represented Rafa because he did get in there by default, really, didn't he? So you would have thought he'd turn on his best behaviour on and off field. And who's the little royal there, little George in his little suit? Don't carry on like a twit in front of a 10-year-old.
George. Oh, but in his defence, though, Rowe, he's hardly the first tennis player to carry on like a half-wit. I mean, McEnroe was one of the worst, and he's now regarded as a great of the game. Even a guy like Ilie Nastase in the late 70s was a buffoon, better known for his carrying on than for his tennis prowess. So, I don't know. There's a long and ignoble tradition in tennis of this sort of ratbaggery.
I was torn. I felt un-Australian. Jody and I were debating it till 3 in the morning, then we just turned him the damn hell off. Hey, well done to Port. Could not have been more impressive. A 55-point win. You know what they did? They kept GWS to 3 goals. They're 8 wins, 8 losses, 1 game out of the 8. They beat Melbourne and Darwin Sunday. I'm going to play Can You Feel It? They're back. Do you think they're back? 65 inside 50s. Connor Rosie on fire. There's a lot to like about Port with their young lads, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, and I think they are back. The question is whether they've just got too much to do with the schedule they've got for the rest of the season and where they find themselves on the ladder at the moment.
Correct.
But I think their football right now is good enough.
Brilliant.
Have they found something, do you think, in the ruck, Rowie, with Charlie Dixon now playing a significant role there?
I do. Scotty Lycett will come back, but Charlie will be their second string. Crikey, he loves it, doesn't he? We speak to him each and every Friday, and he does like it as well. It just gets him out of the forward line. It gets him in the game. He's a competitor. They certainly have found somebody there. Before we go, do we have to talk about the Crows? Should we just... Oh, my goodness. Hey, they were beaten comfortably by a team who was under them on the ladder. Let's not forget that. They started slowly, and I thought they were never in the game. Sat there and watched it with Jody right on the fence. Look, they fought hard. We love their endeavour, don't we? They scrap. They have a crack. They never gave up. All of that, that's in their DNA, but it's It's worn its patience on the fans. We were sitting amongst a lot of Crows people, and it's worn on me. The coaches and players must be starting to get sick of it too, don't you reckon? It's a hard way to play footy week in, week out. It cannot be enjoyable for the players. It's terrible to watch. Honestly, live, and I haven't been able to do that for some years, it is terrible to watch. Terrible.
We've got a text from Nathan in Eden Hills who says, why, given the Crows are rebuilding, which arguably allows one to redesign the team from the ground up, do the powers that be in Crowland seem hell-bent developing a grinding, slow, bloody awful game style supported by a cast of one-paced in and under stalwarts? Such a bloody awful style of footy to have to watch, especially when they're losing. With the flexibility of rebuilding and being able to aim for any game style we want, yet we seem to be locking ourselves into one-dimensional strategy of grinding out wins with no room for pace or flair. I can't disagree with any of what Nathan Eden Hills has just said.
Fantastic. And I don't know the answer sitting here round 18. I don't think they know the answer, because the answer is this. It's talent and development and your list. Berry, Schomburg, Jones, McHenry, Thilthorpe, Rowe, Haitley, Butts, Parnell. Then you look at Cook, Pedler, Scholl, Worrell and Cohen, the sample. They're your under-22s. Pick one. Just anyone, please. Pick one that's going to just rise and be an All-Australian.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you, Rowie.
Talent's the answer. We'll see you tonight. Timmy's back. I can actually see his grin from here about Port Adelaide, and I guess after 5 picks and I'll have another sook.
Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way.
When you die, who gets what? Will your kids or relatives argue over your estate? Will your beneficiaries be protected? Will your estate be tax effective? Will your wishes be respected and carried out? Speak with Donlan Lawyers now for peace of mind. Donlan Lawyers for wills and estate planning. Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers developing 14 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A P-plater almost ended up on the North Adelaide golf course early this morning. The driver, a 23-year-old from Parafield Gardens, was allegedly intoxicated when she ploughed into a bollard. Senior Constable Dave Muir says the woman was taken to hospital after refusing a breath test.
The driver was reported to failing to comply with the breath analysis, drink driving without due care and breaching the conditions of her probationary licence. So she was also issued with a 12-month instant loss of licence, and her car was impounded for 28 days. She'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date.
From today, South Australians over 30 can access a fourth COVID jab. 600 pharmacies and GPs will be administering shots along with several hubs. Professor Nicola Spurrier says that makes the vaccine easily accessible.
I'm looking forward to having a vaccine at a pharmacist because I think that's a really convenient way for many of us to access the COVID vaccine along with flu vaccine.
Access to COVID antiviral treatments is now accessible to anyone over the age of 70, even if they have no underlying conditions. Eligibility has also been expanded for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders from the age of 30. Infectious diseases expert, Associate Professor Paul Griffin, says anyone over 70 who tests positive should get in early.
Definitely the first 5 days, better if in the first 3 or even earlier. So that's why we need people to basically understand if they're eligible even before they've got COVID, so they can have a plan in place for how they get a test and how they get those medicines.
In WA, 3 family members have been taken to hospital following a dog attack. Olivia Donaldson has the story.
Police received the 000 call just before 7 o'clock last night. Reports of a pet dog attacking its owners at a home in Baldivis. Police say a family of 4 were hiding from the animal, believed to be a blue heeler, waiting for police to arrive. The dog attacked 3 people. A man in his 50s suffered serious bite wounds to his neck, face and arm. A woman in her 50s had injuries to her leg, and an 18-year-old girl was bitten on the arm. All 3 were taken to Rockingham General Hospital. The dog was shot at 3 times by police and died.
As the cost of living continues to rise, new figures show building a house is getting more expensive. In the last 12 months, residential construction costs have increased 10%. CoreLogic's Tim Lawless says it's a national problem.
We've seen construction costs continuing to rise at near record levels. They're up 2.5% in the June quarter to be 10% higher over the past 12 months nationally.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with tennis. Australian Nick Kyrgios has lost the Wimbledon final. In his first Grand Slam final, Kyrgios went down to Novak Djokovic in 4 sets. Kyrgios's apparent disrespect towards those in his box has raised some eyebrows. Aussie tennis great Renee Stubbs suggesting via social media his relentless abuse of the team members sitting in his player's box was beyond ridiculous.
And you'll just relax every time. Every time. 40-15, 40 long. Why do you stop? Why? Why do you? Say something.
To football, and Adelaide's players will recover today following yesterday's disappointing 32-point loss against Hawthorn. The Crows are now sitting in 15th with 5 wins for the season. Port Adelaide's final hopes, though, well, they're still alive following Saturday night's 55-point win against GWS. The Power, though, face a must-win game against Melbourne on Sunday in Alice Springs. To motorsport, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has taken out the Austrian Grand Prix overnight after holding out Max Verstappen.
Charles Leclerc has sailed through it all. He sees the checkered flag, and for the first time, other than when he's on pole, he takes victory. Charles Leclerc wins the Austrian Grand Prix.
Audio there thanks to Fox Sports. Lewis Hamilton was 3rd, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came 9th. And Australia will be chasing quick wickets on day 4 of the second test against Sri Lanka. The home side set to resume at 6 for 431, giving them an overall lead of 67 runs with 2 days to play. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Crayford, look out for a broken down car as you're heading outbound on the freeway. It's near the Stirling off ramp. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettlebell Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Beverley, you'll find urgent sewer works today. Port Road near Lynch Road and Brighton. Keep an eye out for a burst water main. That's Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. We've got cameras today, Goodwood Road, Kernelight Gardens and Port Wakefield Road at Waterloo Corner. Amazon Prime Day is coming and you can get the epic deals you've been dreaming of. Amazon Prime Day, July 12 and 13. Included with your Prime membership, $6.99 per month. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, showers developing today with a top of 14, showers again tomorrow 14, and then Wednesday partly cloudy 15 degrees. Right now it's 11. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Go Vita, your local health food shops. Over 30 years health and wellness experience and over 300 natural health practitioners specialising in you.
Hi there, I'm Peter from Go Vita, Tanunda. Fusion quercetin advanced with zinc, vitamin C and D, 60 veggie caps, suppliers recommended a retail price $42.95, now only $27.95.
Go Vita, Colonnades, Fairview Green, Marion, Mount Barker, Manopara, Semaphore and Tanunda.
If you're looking for window covering solutions, look to the Luxaflex difference at Rundle Blinds. Rundle Blinds will inspire you with the remarkable Luxaflex range of blinds and custom-made curtains. It's Luxaflex's most awarded store nationally, and a visit to the showroom will convince you why. Solutions, style, the latest in motorisation and unrivaled customer service. See the online gallery at rundleblinds.com.au or visit the showroom, Goodwood Road, Kings Park, to arrange for an in-home consultation.
Now, David, you know me fairly well, so you know I don't speak Ngarrindjeri.
Not fluently.
No.
But you have a crack.
And I've let my lessons lapse, but I'm going to give it a crack anyway, okay?
Surely you know some.
Why, you ask? Well, we'll find out.
Ninamani welcome. That's how you say it.
There you go. Well, how about this? Turn your coolie, lend me your plombies, and coongan at this.
Fluent. Seamless.
Monado Safari Park is exciting school holiday activities celebrating the language of the traditional custodians of the land on which the park sits.
So just to translate, coolie means head, plombies means ears, and kungan means listen. But go to Monarto and you can visit animals like chimpanzees, giraffes, lions, meerkats and rhinos, and also practice the Nurrunjeri language.
Plus, check out the new cafe with beautiful views of the park, the spacious new shop and play area as well.
With the lion cubs, a new baby giraffe and the cheetah cubs out exploring too, you will want to take a good nookin with your own peelies when you get there.
That's right. Go to monadosafari.com.au to explore the biggest safari park outside of Africa, Monado Safari Park.
Don't just send it, ace it.
It's not just your deliveries that ASIC Couriers look after. They're also proud supporters of the community. Chris, tell us more.
That's right, Rowie. At ASIC Couriers, we're proud supporters of over 16 sporting clubs. We also work with and support the Breakthrough Mental Health Research Foundation to strive for a happy and positive workplace. By supporting us, you're also supporting the community.
Don't just send it, ace it.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
"21 minutes to 8. John Blake coming up before 8 o'clock. Breaking at 8 after 8. We'll take you through some of the developing stories of the morning as well. There's a story that will develop next week in cities and states right around the country. The federal government is commissioning a meeting of state and territory ministers to engage on key policy priorities for women. One of the key players in this is a South Australian MP and the Federal Minister for Social Services, Amanda Rishworth. Minister, good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
Thanks for joining us, Minister. Now, look, obviously there's been a lot of talk about this national plan to end violence against women and children within the next decade. The statistics suggest that there's still a hell of a lot of work to be done. What are the specific measures that the ministers are going to be talking about today to try to stem the constant drumbeat of deaths and injuries from domestic violence?
Yeah, look, thanks for that. I mean, I think it's still really concerning, as you said, that one woman dies in Australia every 9 days at the hands of their current or former partner. So this is a really significant issue. So there's a number of things we'll be discussing, but really it is to make sure that we have landed the national plan, or that we land the national plan that will take us for the next 10 years. This has really important pillars, looking at not just how we deliver services after the fact, but of course making sure that also we've got prevention in there as well. We need to be looking in the prevention space, as well as making sure that there are the right services, and of course recovery and healing as well. So these are the pillars that we will be discussing, but of course getting commitments and getting buy-in from not just the Commonwealth but all the states and territories is also really, really important. And for me, I see this as a really first priority. Our government's already been talking about one of our first legislative acts will be legislating domestic and family violence leave to make sure that women don't have to choose whether they quit their job to leave a relationship, that they can have time off work. So we'll be discussing all of these priorities next Friday in Adelaide.
I know you want to focus on prevention. What about just locking up the scumbags who hit women? I mean, is part of the conversation actually to be about appropriately punishing people?
Totally, 100%.
Well, absolutely, there's got to be consequences to actions, but I think there's got to be an awareness piece that starts much earlier on with young people. And with young people, it is about making sure that there's actually respectful relationships. I mean, that is one critical, important part that we actually tackle. But absolutely, for those people that have done the wrong thing, we do need to make sure that there's consequences. But also, we do need to look at interventions for those perpetrators as well. So it's about not leaving any stone unturned to make sure that we actually tackle this, because just doing what we've done in the past hasn't been enough, and so we've got to do better.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I sort of wonder sometimes, like, whether herding all the Year 3 students together to talk to them about gendered language, like, what as noble as that might be, it feels like you actually need, with these meetings, Minister, to get the attorneys general around the table as well, because so often when we catch up with our court reporter Sean Fuster from the Tiser, we hear cases where blokes have done shocking things for years and for years and for years. And I mean, I spent a lot of time covering things like the Gail Woodford inquiry, where the bloke who killed her had raped other women multiple times and was allowed to return to the community where he'd actually raped someone before. And it feels like the only people who haven't got the memo about White Ribbon Day, yada, 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 are the judges.
Well, look, absolutely. As I said, consequences matter, and we need an effective response. I mean, sometimes over the years we've had much better training for police in terms of response. There was a time when people sort of said if violence happens in the home, it's none of our business. I mean, that's was true. Obviously the attitude, and I think we have come some way to that, but you know, we do have to work towards, for example, not forcing the women and children to leave the home. Is there ways that the perpetrator can be removed as well? But these are a gamut of things. We've got to look right across the spectrum, though. I think that's really important to make sure that we're looking right across the spectrum, because I take your point about it's much more than gendered language. It is really about respect for everyone and keeping in mind that respectful relationships. But at that point, again, you're absolutely right. We do need to make sure that our court system and our legal system responds appropriately as well.
Good stuff. Amanda Rishworth, South Australia's own Labor MP, member for Kingston, and also the Federal Minister for Social Services. Thanks for joining us this morning.
15 to 8. Not a lot of love for Nick Kyrgios coming through on the Automasters text line at the moment.
We'll start with a positive. Mark says it's not that complicated. He just wasn't good enough, but Nick's a good man. Mark, an isolated voice in favour of Nick Kyrgios. There's a lot of people here saying things like this. Can we please not have poorly behaved individuals representing Australia on the international stage? It's beyond embarrassing. And one here, Scott from Modbury, says, "Morning, boys. It was hard to listen to Nick's rant in the news break. Nothing about that guy is Australian other than he was born here. But it's our fate. It's our fault that we tolerated his nonsense. Tennis Australia should have grown a pair and smashed it on the head at the start. The young man will be remembered as possibly the most talented sports person ever to achieve almost nothing." Thanks for that, Scott.
He's made a Wimbledon final, Scott.
He did.
Oh, but I think,
as we were saying, Will and I were chatting about it during the break, the guy doesn't even have a coach.
No.
Like, to just get there yourself is pretty extraordinary.
Look, and I think to Scott's point, the disparity between the level of talent and the level of achievement is noteworthy.
Yeah,
I think he should. Yeah, but look, sports people like everyone. Natural ability is part of the equation, but you've got to have the wherewithal. You've got to have the mental maturity. You've got to have the resolve. There are whole other components of it being able to hit the ball hard.
Yes, absolutely.
In all sports. But yeah, you're right. The hardest part of being good at sport is having the natural ability, and he's got that bit. So I guess that's the thing that frustrates everyone else who watches him.
Yeah.
Well, you've got the other bits you could work on.
Yeah.
Like Scott and I and the rest of us are never going to be good enough at running around hitting the ball.
No. We'll be good at the calmness part.
Very good at the calmness part.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. You might be yelling at the box.
Yeah, maybe.
Make some more noise.
Yeah, that's right. Come on!
All right, let's check traffic. There's still time. Join Samry's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samrybright.org.au.
Thanks, Will. At Crafers, keep an eye out for a broken down car this morning, which is heading outbound on the freeway. It's near the Stirling off-ramp. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Beverley, we've got urgent sewer works there this morning. Port Road near Ledger Road, and you'll find a burst watermain at Brighton. That's Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. Busy at the moment, South Road to Karalta Park with a camera, Moringi Avenue at North Plimpton. Get $15 off at Coles when you spend $200 or more online. Head to coles.com.au and use promo code SAVE15. Ends tomorrow. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Susanna Toop here from Toop and Toop. $450,000. That's the average price of an investment property in Adelaide. It's also the value of the asset you are trusting your property manager with. As a director and CEO of Toop and Toop Property Management and a lawyer, looking after your property is my team and I's sole focus, and we take this responsibility very seriously. Building long-term relationships with our clients is really important to us. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? Toop.com.au.
Great news for people on the move. Budget Car and Truck Rental have a new location just north of the city at 354 North East Road, Clemzig. Open 7 days a week. So, if you're moving out or in, taking a load to the tip, or going on a big trip, you can do it all with Budget Car and Truck Rental. 7 metro locations, including their new site at Clemzig. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Tax returns done.
Tick.
Refund on the way.
Tick.
What to do with it? Well, of course, you can replenish your emergency fund, then replenish yourself and get that PureTap.
Now is the time to join PureTap's war on waste. I've done this by reducing single-use plastics. You'll get great tasting filtered water and it will keep you replenished forever.
Yeah, head to the PureTap website now and check out the amazing prices. I mean, how good is this? A PureTap from only $49 up front. That is pure value.
And look, frankly, whatever improvements the taste of Adelaide water has made over the years, there's still no substitute for the quality you get with the PureTap. But they look good too. It's a designer tap. And the $49 up front includes installation and filters for 2 years on a great payment plan.
Call PureTap on 133 502. That's 133 502. Or just go to puretap.com.au. Some T's and C's apply.
Please don't hold this against me, but if bi-urban bathrooms and kitchens is not your thing, well, that's that's okay. I mean, if people gushing over your new kitchen and bathroom means nothing to you, nothing at all, that's completely fine, I guess. But if you do appreciate millimetre-perfect craftsmanship and service of the highest standard, start here. Buyurban.com.au. Adelaide's home renovation experts.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
10 to 8, John Blake coming up in a moment, our weekend real estate wrap as well. A good morning to all the veterans that are listening to us as well on 5AA Breakfast today. Turns out there's twice as many that have previously been accounted for. This is an interesting story in the Ties of the day. It comes about as a result of a question that was in the latest census that specifically asked people about whether they'd served. And it turns out the previous version we were using, that is people that had a veterans card, revealed that there was 18,000 veterans in South Australia. Well, that's not everyone has a veterans card. And in fact, 47,852 veterans call South Australia home.
So does that suggest that only 1 in every 2 veterans has actually bothered to get a veterans card?
Yeah, less than 1 in every 2.
Wow.
3.2% of the state's population. Now, you say, OK, that's a sort of an accounting measure, and it's good to have up-to-date data. But I hate to think what kind of measures have been debated and decided on in South Australia that pertain to veterans that have either been discarded or framed wrongly because we grossly underestimated the number of veterans that are in South Australia. That's why the census is important, because when they were talking about, well, how many people are going to be affected by, say we did a public transport, free public transport for veterans on Anzac Day or something or other. Those kind of conversations were framed previously around there being 18,000.
Well, the big one is the PBS.
Absolutely.
Getting cheap medicine, or in some cases free medicine.
So, I mean, it sounds trivial, but I think it's a really important story, and it's actually pretty ordinary that we've had it wrong for this long.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary oversight. Hey, still getting texts about Nick Kyrgios. I agree with this one from Roger. I saw commentary suggesting that Nick Kyrgios suffers with anxiety. I think he's spoken out publicly saying that he has had issues. Roger continues, but I noticed a change in his language recently, referring to his team, and his post-game comments showed that he's made some effort in the right direction. I'm happy to watch his tennis and ignore his fights with his demons. There you go. Good on you, Roger.
8 to 8, it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
The life cycle of earthbound creatures is fascinating, and this one is no exception. The breakfast host, or Davidium penberthicus, awakens as the sun breaks through and it comes out of its 2-week hibernation. The first thing on its mind is food.
A little bit of chorizo with some foie gras and croque monsieurs wouldn't go astray.
By instinct alone, it knows what it needs and then regurgitates the words in a kaleidoscope of mispronunciation.
I could go a bit of cock of in too.
Like many host organisms, they exist next to a stream. A live stream where they can be observed by other beasts. Every 30 minutes, without fail, Davidium penberthicus can clearly be seen to scurry away from the stream, leaving his mate to guard the area. And to this day, it is still a mystery as to where he goes. But after 5 minutes, he returns to the stream and carries on as if nothing had happened until the next time he scurries off again in the never-ending cycle of leaving and then coming back. Next time we will explore the intriguing creature known as Williatum goodingstepharatimus, a unique animal known for its breeding prowess. At the beginning of its breeding cycle, Williatum goodingstepharatimus makes a prediction by quickly announcing the number of offspring it thinks it will have.
04808395, 04808395, 04808395.
After 3 hours of vigorous activity on the stream, the two hosts migrate to warmer climes to make way for another interesting creature, Leonicum bina eteratum monotalagarian. Even with years of close observation, still no one has been able to understand the mechanisms by which this creature exists. The next day, the whole cycle begins again.
How good is David Attenborough?
David Attenborough is fantastic. That series just terrifies me, though.
Yeah, I know. It feels like everyone's going to get their turn, too.
That was
Watch
exceptional
out,
work.
Watch out, Jade.
And look, guys,
watch out, Pans.
What fertile environment for analysis of rare and bizarre creatures. John Blake will be back after 8:30 with Behind Closed Doors. It's not too far away. Let's talk real estate. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop is on the line. Morning to you, Susanna.
Good morning, guys.
So, Susanna, what does the last financial year look like in a snapshot, real estate wise?
Look, it has been a huge year, and I think just recapping on the last 12 months, it's something that we really haven't seen in such a long time, particularly here in Adelaide with the way that the market went. So just as a bit of a snapshot, the median house price in Adelaide climbed 26% to $682,000, and units rose to $475,000. There were over 110 suburbs across Adelaide that experienced 25% growth or more. So suburbs on this list included Birkenhead, Bridgewater, Clarence Park, Crafers West, Goodwood, Hawthorn, Mayland, Bassland Beach, Millswood, Norwood, St Peters, Sale Park and Wattle Park. So 110 suburbs experienced 25% growth or more, and that's just astonishing. And also, unlike other states, the premium market in Adelaide maintains its strength. 73% of the suburbs listed with a median value of $1 million or above recorded an increase in value over the last 3 months. And just looking to rents as well, rents jumped by almost 10% across Adelaide. Some suburbs rose by more than 20 or 30%. And look, the average home right now is cheaper in Melbourne, to rent than in Adelaide. So Adelaide has just taken that spot ahead of Melbourne in terms of affordability with the rental side of things as well.
What about locally, just as recently as this weekend, Susanna? How did it all play out?
But we had half a dozen auctions this weekend with an 80% clearance rate, so still really strong out there this weekend. And one of these properties was in Allenby Gardens, a newly renovated 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom home on 490 square metres. It went to auction and sold for $875,000. So still some really great results coming through on the weekend. It is a lot colder out there at the moment. I think buyers are definitely rugging up and making sure that they're very much braving the cooler conditions. But no, we're still very much seeing a lot of buyers, a lot of activity. Obviously off the back of those interest rate rises as well, it really is the keen buyers out there that are looking to get into property, but we're certainly seeing that the market has continued, and just in the last month it's still risen by 1.3%. So we are still very steadily going through these winter months, but it certainly has been an incredible last 12 months, and we've really come off the back of just huge growth, and we're certainly going to expect things to stabilise now into the second half of the year.
Great stuff, Susanna. Thanks for that. We'll catch up again next week. Susanna Toop from Toop and Toop Real Estate. Allenby Gardens, very underrated suburb, Allenby Gardens. Some beautiful houses there. Some great sort of early 1900s, 1910s, 20s sort of Federation homes. Just stunning. 860 grand though, is a lot of money.
It really is. I know they say, look, think about it over 30 years, but yeah, no, it's still a lot of money. It's 2 minutes to 8. Breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. But first, 5AA news on the way.
Speak with One Solution and they'll tell you cybercrime is not a big business problem, a government problem, or a small enterprise problem. It's everyone's problem. Ransomware, malware, and adware remain the #1 threat. One call to One Solution will put your business in a safe place. It's the smartest, most cost-effective business decision you'll ever make. Get in touch with One Solution, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award. onesolution.net.au.
Mini Jumbuck, now in McLaren Vale, make Australia's favourite wool bedding products, proudly made right here in South Australia. Mini Jumbuck uses the finest Australian wool to handcraft their quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more. Sleeping with wool allows your body to adjust to its ideal temperature, so you'll sleep more peacefully and wake refreshed. If you're looking to improve your quality of sleep, start with a visit to Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale today, open 7 days. Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, Australian made, Australian owned.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Falcon Zeek ZE914 car tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for cost-saving, fuel efficiency and performance. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires. G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leith computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leith don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leith. Leith Computers. Find your local dealer at leithsystems.com.au.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers developing 14 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. physioextra.com.
A P-plater has been reported for drink driving after crashing her car at the North Adelaide Golf Course. Police were called to Strangways Terrace around 4:30 this morning as she slammed into a bollard. The 23-year-old from Parafield Gardens was allegedly intoxicated. Neither she nor her male passenger were injured. 2 men have been arrested after a break-in at Ferryden Park last night. Senior Constable Dave Muir says they received reports of intruders at a property on Durham Terrace just after 10:30 p.m.
Patrols quickly set up cordons and located a duo at the rear of the house a short time later, allegedly in possession of property stolen from that unoccupied house. So a 44-year-old of no fixed address and a 36-year-old man from Woodville Gardens, both charged with serious criminal trespass and going equipped. Neither of them were given bail and they're going to front the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court later today.
Doctors are urging all eligible Australians to get their 4th COVID shot as a new wave of Omicron drives up hospitalisations. 7.5 million people are now able to get their extra booster, which is recommended for people over 50. Dr Bruce Willett from the Royal Australian College of GPs says being fully vaccinated will reduce your risk of severe COVID-19.
Being fully vaccinated reduces your chances of going into hospital 5 times. So that's certainly well worth doing. And then these antiviral, anti-COVID medications are our second line of defence and are also very useful.
Access to antiviral treatments is now accessible to anyone over the age of 70, even with no underlying conditions. Health Minister Chris Picton has welcomed the changes.
Antivirals can be very helpful in terms of stopping people getting really severe consequences of COVID-19. And we really encourage people to use those antivirals, talk to their GP or the coronavirus hotline.
The pandemic has seen Australians quit their states, moving en masse to Western Australia and Queensland. Olivia Donaldson has more.
Almost 500,000 Australians moved interstate in 2021, with Victoria suffering its biggest net loss of residents to other parts of the country. WA had its largest inflow in a 3-month period, with more than 13,000 people crossing the Nullarbor in the last 3 months of last year. Queensland also became home for about 80,000 people, almost double the number of those who moved there in 2018 and 2019. The main driver for moving was being able to see family and friends after strict border controls and lockdowns, and the prospect of buying a home.
And Aussie actor Chris Hemsworth has the #1 movie in America, Thor: Love and Thunder, making $143 million in its opening weekend. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
I've got my own superhero right here. Here's Tom Wren.
Just skulking my way into the newsroom. Exactly right. Thanks, Mel. Not all superheroes wear capes, eh? Tennis first. Novak Djokovic has claimed his 21st Grand Slam title overnight, beating Australia's Nick Kyrgios in 4 sets.
Djokovic, 7th Wimbledon, a 21st Grand Slam. 6-4, 7-6. For this superstar player.
Yeah, great result for him. Audio thanks to Channel 9. Djokovic is now within 1 Grand Slam of Rafael Nadal and is now 1 clear of Roger Federer, who has won 20. To football, Adelaide has slipped back into the bottom 4 on the ladder following another disappointing loss against Hawthorn, going down by 32 points at Marvel Stadium. Coach Matthew Nicks frustrated by his team's lack of effort and poor execution.
They were harder at the footy, they were harder in the tackle, but we just coughed the ball up, which is something we don't do.
2 other games to wrap up round 17, with Essendon upsetting Brisbane by 10 points, while Carlton smashed West Coast by 63 points. To Formula 1, Ferrari's Charles Leclerc has won the Austrian Grand Prix and is now outright second in the overall championship, but he still trails Max Verstappen, who finished second at that Grand Prix overnight. Lewis Hamilton was third, while Aussie Daniel Ricciardo came 9th. Still on motorsport, Shane van Gisbergen has extended his lead in the Supercars Championship with a clean sweep of the 2 races at the Townsville 500. To cricket, Sri Lanka has taken the upper hand in the second test against Australia in Galle, with the home side reaching 6 for 431 at stumps on day 3, giving them an overall lead of 67 runs with 2 days to play. And American Xander Schauffele has won the Scottish Open by a shot, beating out countryman Kurt Kitayama by a single stroke, while Kim Joo-hyung finished third. Cam Smith was the best of the Aussies, finishing 5 shots back in a tie for 10th. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
Got a few things to look out for this morning. At Beverley, you'll find urgent civil works, Port Road near Ledger Road. Brighton, we've got a burst water main there this morning. Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. Campbelltown, look out for gas main replacement works there. Newton Road near Montague Road. And in the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Illuminate Festival. Starting to get busy, Marion Road at Crossroad with the camera, Anzac Highway at Ashford. Harris Scarf's big stock take sale is in its final week. Hurry in for 40% off all homewares, 30% off all apparel and more, only at Harris Scarf and Sunday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast, and 14 for your Monday, showers developing, showers tomorrow 14, Wednesday partly cloudy 15, Thursday much the same. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
7 minutes after 8, breaking at 8 in just a moment. We'll go behind closed doors after 8:30, and then we will chat with the Royal College of GP South Australian Chair, Dr. Danny Byrne, about how you can access antivirals if you're in a particular cohort. There's a host of them, actually, but you've got to be in a cohort of either age or vulnerability to get access to them as of today. We'll talk about that process after 8:30 today. We're going to catch up too with Trevor Sharp, who's the volunteer operator of the McLaren Vale Vintage and Classic Car event, and that that first little bit of that is particularly important because they're struggling to find someone to replace him, and that has meant there's real question marks about what's going to happen in that event's immediate future. So that's coming up after 8:30. Also, your chance to win a family pass to the Monado Safari Park as well. That's coming up in about 10 minutes' time.
Well, now that the dust has settled, we thought that today in Breaking at 8 we would have a closer and more sober-minded look at what happened last Saturday in the Bragg by-election. I think what it's shown is that as a nation, we almost need to dispense now with the idea of this quaint old thing called polling day and instead refer to it as an election period. Because the idea that you're going to get a clear result on the night is now a much less reliable assertion. What happened last week was that the manner in which the Liberals had performed with their candidate Jack Batty in the seat of Bragg, obviously the by-election brought about by the what some Liberals regard as the dummy-spitting departure of former Deputy Premier Vicky Chapman, it was reported initially as being some sort of gold-plated disaster for the Liberal Party. But the reality was that given the extent of the landslide that they suffered only a few months ago, with a new candidate and with all of the controversy about the manner in which Ms Chapman had suddenly decided to leave politics, the Libs actually did much better looking at it today than they did when it was being reported last Sunday and Monday. Now, the big part of that, obviously, is that so many more people now choose to vote ahead of polling day. And if you look at the actual raw votes on the day, first preference, Greens 17%, Labor 31%, Liberals 48%. Well, you look at that and you say, well, this has been a disaster for Jack Batty. This is a seat that's only ever been held by the Liberal Party. They've never not won it without going to preferences. And on that basis, you say he's not going to get 50% of the primary vote, and his two-party preferred vote has been smashed as well. Well, if you actually look at the pre-poll votes compared to the actual votes on polling day, support there for the Liberal Party was running at 57%, the ALP was down on 28%, and the Greens were on just shy of 11%. So what happened was that in the days after the election, all of those pre-poll votes got thrown into the mix, and as it turned out, Batty ended up winning on primaries. The two-party preferred vote exceeded 55%. So while it's hardly a stunning result, it's still a reasonably comfortable one. So, you know, the manner in which it was reported as being a disaster for the Libs now looks less disastrous than was asserted. The other big thing that's going to happen, and I reckon it might happen within the next 12 months though, and that's certainly despite what he has said publicly about it, because clearly at the moment, if you are the former Premier of South Australia and people ask you, are you going to stick around or not? The answer is going to be, well, yeah, I am. But it's not a view that's shared within the Liberal Party, within the Labor Party, or, importantly, the Greens, who actually did much better than Labor in the Bragg by-election than the Labor Party did. There's a huge expectation that Stephen Marshall is not going to see out the term, and given the extent to which the Liberal Party vote collapsed in his seat, meaning it's now below 1%, that is going to be the one that's really tricky for the Libs to hold on there.
Some sad news over the weekend regarding the health of two-time Olympic gold medalist Michael Klim, who's suffering from an autoimmune disease. I won't try and pronounce it, but it's particularly rare. It's a disorder where the body attacks the myelin sheaths, the fatty coverings of the fibres that insulate and protect the nerves. It meant that he started suffering from it in 2019, well, noticing at least some symptoms, and by now he can barely walk. He's relying on a walking stick, he has braces. He spoke on Sunrise a short time ago.
It took me a while to process. It's a chronic, it basically means that it's almost there forever. So it's affected my lifestyle. My walking's affected greatly. I've lost pretty much all my muscle in the legs and the sensation. So I plan simple things like when I'm going to the shops, how far I have to walk to the, to get my groceries, or even, up and down the pool, I measure the amount of lengths I can do. So, I'm there with my kids and etc. if I'm coaching. So simple tasks in life that have never been a consideration have suddenly become almost, a daily kind of routine where I'm planning my activity.
Terrifically sad. He's only 44 years old, and I can remember he was absolutely one of the stars of the Sydney Olympics. 2 gold medals in Sydney. He got a few, not sure if he got golds or if he got silvers or bronzes in Athens, but he won more medals there too in 2004. But he just seems like a cracking player. He's a relative of yours, isn't he, Will? Wasn't he born in Poland?
He was born in Poland, yeah. He was. So his record is he won 2 relay gold medals in Sydney. He won an individual silver in the 100-metre butterfly and another silver in the medley in Sydney. Then he won a silver in Athens. He'd also won a bronze in the relay in Atlanta, preceding Sydney as well. He's
just cruel.
Just an awful thing to read about. Also on Sunrise this morning, Ryan Felsman from ComSec was talking about the impact of Elon Musk's decision not to buy Twitter on the share price.
We saw Twitter shares fall by 5.1% on Friday, and we're down a further 4.8% in after-hours trade to $35 a share, and that's after Tesla CEO and the world's richest person, Elon Musk, terminated his $44 billion deal for the social media platform. Musk's lawyers said that despite repeated requests for information on spam and also fake accounts, Twitter had failed to comply and provide that information. And of course, that's fundamental to the business performance of Twitter.
There's some conjecture now about whether he's actually legally bound to go through with the deal, and indeed what the break contract cost will be. Is it a couple of $1 billion? It's going to be billions of dollars this exercise has cost him.
What, for just saying he wanted to buy it?
Yeah, but he went
beyond saying.
He went beyond saying it. He started the process. So once you do that, make a formal offer, you're bound by certain rules and regulations.
What does it mean for Donald Trump's chances of making a Twitter comeback? Although he pretty much said he doesn't want to anyway.
He said he wouldn't anyway, because he, of course, started Truth Social, his own version of Twitter. So he always was reluctant to return because it kind of would undermine the business model of the other. I mean, the only reason you're on Truth Social is to follow Donald Trump, I'm thinking.
Yeah, there's no other big names there.
No, I think that's why. So yeah, I don't think he's going to move on the back of that news. The movie Minions that's in cinemas at the moment, the Minions sequel, is notable in the history of film and in Australia, not necessarily just because of its box office success, but it actually marks the end of an era of film right around the world. It is the last of 44 major theatrical releases, by major, Variety defines it as those by the big studios, that was slated for release in 2020 and got delayed. We're now officially in the era of new movies.
So we've caught up.
That was the last of them. There was 44 of them, featuring some of the films that have now done great guns. Things like Top Gun Maverick was originally slated for a 2020 release. Some got released in 2021, but the Minions Rise of Gru was the last of them to get delayed to this point in time. So it means we are now officially in the new era of film.
They're quite good, those Minions films. They're in that you've got all this ahead of you, Will. You're always looking for a kids' film that gives you a few laughs as an adult.
Right.
There's not too many of them around. There's a number. Sing is a good one. It's a very funny film. Zootopia, with the excellent scene with the sloth working in the government department, processing the licence checks. Hilarious. But Minions is pretty good. SpongeBob SquarePants, I like. That's a bit sort of left of centre.
There must be something to it. Brought in more than $1 billion, the original Minions in 2015, a worldwide box office. So it's got to be more than just the kids, isn't it?
Yeah, one of the Minions is called Kevin as well. It's a funny name for a Minion, okay. Kevin.
Valerie in Para Hills has got some news for us. Morning, Valerie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, Valerie.
There's a 4-car accident on Montague Road just before the Ingle Farm Shopping Centre.
No.
Yeah. So there's no police or anything there at the moment, but
okay.
Yeah.
So is it? Can you drive around it, or is it? Is traffic at a total standstill?
No, it's in the turning right lane
Okay.
onto, like if you go into Walkley, I don't know that road. Walkley, I don't know, one of the roads.
Does it look like a bad crash, Valerie?
No, it's just rear enders.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Certainly an area to avoid while they clean that up, because then they'll close out a lane as well. Valerie, thank you for that. If you ever see anything traffic-wise in your travels, be sure to call us on 8223 0000 or text us the Automasters text line 0448 08 1395. Let's do Fuel Watch this morning. Download the free My RAA app today to find the cheapest fuel in an instant. The numbers today are better than when we left you 2 weeks ago. The ex-convenience Main North Road Prospect, $1.87.5. The United Grand Junction Road Rosewater, $1.89.9. The ex-convenience Brighton Road North Brighton, $1.89.9. And Chris called us to alert us to the fact that most of the outlets around Surrey Downs are in the high $1.80s. Thank you, Chris. The cheapest diesel, this is lagging massively behind unleaded at the moment. The United Main North Road Paraka, $2.19.9. So the cheapest diesel's 30 cents a litre more expensive than the cheapest unleaded at the moment, which is a discrepancy that I don't recall.
Diesel's been bad for months. The hire car that we had on our family holiday to Sydney, had to take it back to Sydney Airport on Saturday and filled it up. Took the kids down to La Perouse to see Botany Bay and have a look around there, that historic spot, with a couple of hours to kill before the flight. And when I filled it up in Malabar, it cost $2.35 a litre. Better though than the hire car arrangement, where they said, "Look, you got to, if you don't bring the car back full, we charge $5 a litre."
$5 a litre.
Yeah.
You might as well just make up a number. We're going to charge you $100 a litre. Well, why not?
Like your Melbourne car park, mate.
$255 later. Thanks for the tip.
How good is it being back in Adelaide?
It is great to be home. 19 minutes after 8. Let's check traffic. There's still time. Join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samribright.org.au.
At Brighton, you'll find a burst water main this morning, Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. Campbelltown, we've got gas main replacement works there. That's Newton Road near Montague Road, switch at 40. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. And we're starting to get busy now, Park Terrace at Bowden. Cameras, Goodwood Road, Kernlight Gardens and Andrews Road at Monopara Downs. Enjoy your favourite Mexican food with Guzmani Gomez and save. Score yourself burritos and bowls for just $9.90. Yes, just $9.90 when you order via the GYG app. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Jason Clark from Simons Clark Logistics talks about One Solution and how they streamlined his business.
We were lacking an integrated approach to our IT. We needed support and to future-proof our business. Security was also a concern for us. One Solution assessed and designed a new reliable, failure-safe solution for our business. Combined with the local help desk, IT support at Simons Clark is now in a great position for the future.
Visit onesolution.net.au, winner of the National Telstra Customer Experience Award.
Don't just send it, ace it. I'm with Chris from ASIC Couriers, an SA family business doing great things for your business.
Thanks, Rowie. Our drivers all undergo intensive training and the ASIC compliance team regularly audit our fleet. Plus, we use the latest satellite technology to track your deliveries. No matter what it is, we can deliver it safely and on time. Visit asiccouriers.com.au.
Don't just send it, ace it.
Now, it's not that hard to imagine what it's like, having the perfect bathroom at home, but the key question is, what does it really cost?
That's the part of the dream that makes you wince. Well, that's one of the great things about Biourban Bathrooms and Kitchens. When they renovate a bathroom, they do it to suit your budget. In fact,
Right.
David Cox and the incredible team at Biourban can show you how to do a lot more with less. They plan every detail, and it means you know exactly how much it will cost and what the outcome will be.
That's right. Your bathroom is without doubt one of the most important rooms in your home, and it's an investment too, because if you get it right, it adds incredible value and appeal to your property. Get it wrong and you'll be living with it forever.
For bathrooms, visit biourban.com.au, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
G'day, it's Eddie from NRG Solar here. In case you haven't heard, the SA Home Battery Scheme has been flushed down the dunny in favour of, well, nothing. Before it's gone altogether, get in touch with us and get $2,000 off the price of your Tesla Powerwall. Combined with NRG Solar, battery storage could zero out your electricity bills altogether. And in all seriousness, the time to act is now. Right now, actually. Visit nrgsolar.com.au NRG Solar, leading solar in SA.
The mid-year event is on at Solitaire Maserati. With the Levante SUV available for immediate delivery, now is the time to own one of the world's most desired luxury performance brands. Book a test drive at solitairemaserati.com.au. DL 65541.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8. Coming up after 8:30 this morning, we're going to be speaking with Dr. Danny Byrne, the South Australian Chair of the Royal College of GPs. If you've got a question about antivirals that'll be available in great number in South Australia as of today, 8:30 is your time to ask that question. You can call us on 8223 0000. James in Tranmere has called that number to talk about fuel in hire cars. Morning, James.
Good morning, gentlemen.
What's your story,
And David.
James? And David. Good on you, mate.
Listen, I hired a car from Hertz, a truck, on the weekend. You bring it back without the diesel, $6.15 a litre.
Oh, you're kidding me.
I'm not kidding you.
You didn't make that fatal error, did you, mate?
No, I filled it up. I even overfilled it just to make sure they couldn't grab me.
Put a bit in the glove box just to be on the safe side.
How is that price justified? What's the labour cost in filling that car up at $1.89?
Well, I guess the thing is, if you're a car company, you got all the bookings, you got the people coming in every 2 minutes.
Mm.
I mean, at the airport, crikey, there's people everywhere getting their hire cars. They actually ran out of the car we wanted and said, "Oh, can you take a 7-seater instead of a van?" I was like, "Yeah, no dramas." But I guess it's like if you're late for picking up your kids from childcare. I'm not sure what the situation is locally, but if you get there after 6 at a lot of childcare places, they'll charge you like $4 a minute.
What?
Well, yeah, because otherwise people treat it like babysitting. Like if the cost isn't prohibitive, human behaviour is you think, well, I'm stuck at work. I know the childcare centre shuts at 6, but I just pick the kids up at 6:30 if it only costs an extra $10 or something.
How'd they arrive at $4 a minute? That's why obviously an
probably more than
itemised
that now.
explanation of how these costs are arrived at.
Well, they're punitive.
I'm writing this down, by the way. This is all going in the tip book from David's Parenting Tips. I'm taking note of all this stuff.
Oh no!
Hey, speaking
soon to be a self-help book that will be quickly removed from the shelves on safety grounds.
I reckon a lot of parents would have taken kids to Monardo Safari Park in recent times. We've got a family pass to give away right now on 5AA Breakfast. Monardo Safari Park, the perfect school holiday destination. Visit giraffes, lions, rhinos and more. monardosafari.com.au. This is simple. We're going to play a sound, the sound of a animal at Monardo Safari Park. If you can identify it, you win the tickets. First person to identify it on 8223 0055 gets the tickets. Here is the sound. Doesn't sound pleasant. Now, you need to tell us what that animal is. I think this is actually really tough. Lucy said we're going to start with an easy one. I don't think this is easy, Lucy. 8223 0055. Let us know what you think the animal is. It is an animal that is at Monardo.
Pretty sure it's not the scimitar horned oryx.
It's not.
They have got them, though.
That's your favourite. We know that.
They're great.
8223 0055. I'll play it one more time for everyone playing at home. I don't need to play the whole thing. I mean, there's not a whole...
Sounds like Clive Palmer waking up in the morning.
Patricia in Fulham Gardens, it's not Clive Palmer. What do you think the animal is?
Is it a lion?
Is it a lion? It is not a lion.
Oh, bad luck.
Sorry,
That was my guess
Patricia.
too.
Let's go to Glenelg. Ben, what do you think the animal is?
That was going to be my answer as well.
Just say another animal.
A rhino.
Oh, wow! Are you serious right now, Ben? You pivoted and got it right.
Pulled that one out of nowhere.
The lemonade and sauce is what Stephen Rowe would say. Ben, that's extraordinary. Under pressure, in the moment, clutch. Rhino it was.
Ice in his veins, Ben.
That was just remarkable. He should be coaching Nick Kyrgios. Ben, are you available? He's won a family pass to Monado Safari Park. Monado Safari Park, the perfect school holiday destination. Visit giraffes, lions, rhinos and more. MonadoSafari.com.au.
If you're planning an event, whether it's a small meeting with the latest in reliable technology or a large gala dinner full of glitz and glamour, you'll experience event excellence on every level at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Excellence in understanding your needs and delivering them to exacting standards is what we do. And we don't just aim for excellence, we go beyond. So for your next excellent event, the team is ready and waiting at the Adelaide Convention Centre, the centre of event excellence.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
All right, so let's say you've signed a building contract, work is underway on your dream home, everyone's excited, then one day, crunch, your builder hits rock while digging your footings.
Yeah, well, what happens next? Well, most builders will send you a nice letter and then bump up their price with a, quote, variation.
Oh, yeah, but not Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs or nasty surprises. The price is fixed. That's why it's the industry's strongest contract.
So before you build, talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
G'day South Australia, Cheats here. Over the years I've seen some great South Australian teams, but the best has to be the team from BL Shipway, who I've known for over 30 years. They've been looking after the state's hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953. You can find them on Richmond Road with stock on hand from quality brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Hydac and Enerpac. If you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. Our famous July Spend and Save is on now. Yes, our famous July Spend and Save is the best National Tiles event of the year. Spend $1,000 and we'll only charge you $750. Or spend $4,000 and we'll only charge you $2,750. The National Tiles July Spend and Save is not to be missed. But you'll have to be quick. For full details, go to nationaltiles.com.au now and save. Conditions apply.
The Haval Jolion is a smart SUV. The design is sharp and the technology genius. But the really smart feature is the driver. Someone savvy enough to demand more and get it. Haval Jolion. Smart move.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Showers developing 14 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Looking for the perfect winter exercise? Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates at 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
A car almost ended up on a fairway at the golf course in North Adelaide this morning. Senior Constable Dave Muir says it left Strangways Terrace around 4:30.
The driver took a wrong turn, a hook or a slice, into a driveway at a golf course and crashed into a bollard. Now, the driver, a 23-year-old Parafield Gardens woman, was allegedly intoxicated. She failed to comply with a breath test analysis and instead was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital.
She's been reported for a string of offences, including driving without due care and breaching the conditions of her probationary licence. She was issued with a 12-month instant loss of licence and her car impounded for 28 days. Australians aged 30 and over can now get a fourth vaccine dose for COVID. The country's leading immunisation group, ATAGI, expanded eligibility to an extra 7.4 million people. The additional dose is recommended for those over 50. The AMA's Dr Chris Moyes says with cases rising, it's important people's immunity gets a boost.
Somebody having an extra fourth shot basically will have a significantly reduced risk of severe disease. And that will be really important over the next few weeks.
We're being urged to shop around and try something different, with the price of some fruit and veg soaring while other items are going down. Lettuce and broccoli is up, but a good supply of avocados is making them more affordable. Dr. Christina Zorbas says there are some good buys out there.
Your bananas, your oranges, canned beans and frozen veggies are always good options. Eggs in terms of protein and canned tuna, apples, carrots.
Rising overheads have caused the cost of building a home to skyrocket. In the last 12 months, residential construction costs have increased 10%. CoreLogic's Tim Lawless says outside of the introduction of GST, that's the highest annual growth rate on record.
Anecdotally, we are hearing more and more builders reporting very high costs coming out of factors like fuel, freight, electricity. Overheads are also becoming more expensive in items like rent, for example.
The fallout from mass protests in Sri Lanka continues, with no clear direction for the financially crippled country. Sophie Walsh reports.
It was open day at the presidential palace, families making themselves at home, relaxing on beds, taking selfies, splashing in the pool at the residence in Colombo, a day after it was stormed by protesters. Today there are questions over the whereabouts of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa after he was seen boarding a ship and fleeing with his family. He's not yet addressed reports he plans to resign later this week. Demonstrations in the financially crippled nation spiralled out of control yesterday as around 100,000 protesters swarmed the city. They're angry over the president's handling of the economy, which has left the country bankrupt and unable to pay for essential imports, with fuel, food and medicine either running low or exorbitantly priced.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And wrapping up the tennis, here's Tom Wren.
Yeah, thank you, Mel. Let's start there. Novak Djokovic believes Nick Kyrgios's erratic emotion on court was his undoing during the Wimbledon final. The Serbian broke Kyrgios's serve when the match was level in the third set, prompting Kyrgios to direct his frustration at his supporters' box. Djokovic says up to that point the pair was evenly matched.
He played maybe a couple of loose points, double fault and deuce. Started talking to his box, and then I felt maybe that's the moment. That where I could break his serve, which happened, and it was a huge momentum shift.
Adelaide will go back to the drawing board after another flat performance, which saw them humbled by 32 points against Hawthorn at Marvel Stadium. Despite the result, coach Matthew Nicks insists there were some positives, including the form of midfielder Sam Berry.
He's a really, a shining light for us at the moment. The last couple of weeks he's driven his legs out of stoppage, he's backed himself in, and this is what we know happens when these players get an opportunity and they're able to gain experience through playing at the highest level.
Two other games yesterday, with Essendon upsetting Brisbane by 10 points, while Carlton's top four hopes remain intact after smashing West Coast by 63 points. Well, Australia's bowlers have struggled on day 3 of the second test against Sri Lanka in Galle, the home side reaching 6 for 431 at stumps, Dinesh Chandimal unbeaten on 118. To motorsport, Charles Leclerc has taken out the Formula 1 Austrian Grand Prix, Aussie Daniel Ricciardo finishing 9th, and Luxembourg's Bob Jungels has claimed the 9th stage of the Tour de France after a brilliant solo attack. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Empress Homewares, 60 The Parade Norwood, Adelaide's most eclectic furniture decor specialist. One-off pieces on sale now.
At Eagle Farm, look out for a multi-car smash on Montague Road at Walkerleys Road. In the Parklands, Brundle Road is currently closed between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. Brighton, you'll find a burst water main there. Brighton Road near Folkestone Road. And Campbelltown, we've got gas main replacement works. Newton Road near Montague Road, speeds at 40 k's. Getting busy, Marion Road at Cross Road, and we've got cameras Julian Road, McDonald Park and Beckman Street at Plinton. Are you considering solar power to save money for your home? Then speak to the name you know and trust for the right advice and the best deal on solar. Manic Solar, Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast: showers developing today with a top of 14, then showers tomorrow 14, up to 15 and partly cloudy on Wednesday. Right now it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
24 to 9, behind closed doors coming up. We'll also speak with Trevor Sharp, who's the organiser of the McLaren Vale Vintage and Classic Car event. Had to be cancelled like so many things have had to be over the last couple of years, but there's a real question mark about whether it's going to happen again next year, given he's wanting to give away the job, unpaid as it is. You do it for love, but there's no one who's willing to take the reins to this point. It'd be sad to see an event like this go by the wayside, so we'll speak to him very, very shortly on 5AA Breakfast. But we're already getting texts asking questions of our next guest, Dr. Danny Byrne, who's the South Australian Chair of the Royal Australian College of GPs, and they relate generally to the antiviral medication that's going to be available from today to an increasing cohort of people. Anyone over 70 can get antiviral pills to combat COVID from their GP. People over the age of 50 with underlying health conditions, and all immune-compromised adults can get them as of today as well. Dr. Danny Byrne, good morning to you.
Yeah, morning, fellas. Morning, listeners.
So, Dr. Byrne, how do these antivirals work? Is the deal that if you've got COVID and you're in those categories that Will just outlined, you'll be eligible to get them?
That's absolutely right. If you want to know how the medications actually work, they block the virus from multiplying inside your body. So you don't get overwhelmed by the viral load if you have these medications.
And how good are they? I mean, do they make you... I mean, depending on how quick you are in the first place, I guess, with other conditions, but can they really give you a huge edge against COVID?
Absolutely. Anecdotally, a few patients said, within 24 hours I was feeling so much better. All that blocked nose and congestion and all that mucus had disappeared. So when they work really well, but they don't work 100%. No medication works 100%.
Is there a time frame in which you need to take them? Is it early days of COVID? Can you take them if it's fairly well progressed?
Earlier the better, like day zero. We call it the day you test positive, day zero. And they've changed the rules so you don't even have to have symptoms now. So if you've tested positive this morning on a rat, ring us up, ring up your GP, and we'll get you on the medications ASAP. But the window is 5 days. We've got to get them within 5 days. If the virus is replicating every day in cycles and cycles and cycles, by day 5, there's too much virus and the medication won't work.
More broadly, Dr. Byrne, I saw Nicola Spurrier, the Chief Medical Officer, Professor Spurrier, over the last 48 hours talking about whether we need to reconsider mandatory masks, whether employers should look at work from home arrangements again. Mm-hmm. As we are heading into the thick of winter, what's your assessment of this new... Is surge too strong a word for what we're seeing?
There'll be a surge if all the modelling is correct, and historically the modelling's been pretty accurate. Look, we're an interesting bunch in Australia, aren't we? We'll do what we have to do when we're told to, but if we're not told to, we're not going to do it. So, did I go to the supermarket on the weekend without a mask? Yes, I did. If it was the law that I had to, I would have worn one. But if you're a patient and you know you're in one of these especially immunocompromised high-risk groups, you've got to wear a mask to protect yourself, and those around you should do the same as well. Same with going to work. If you're someone with autoimmune or immunocompromised disease, see if you can work from home. Your boss should allow that.
Yeah.
Is there any downside to the antivirals, Dr. Byrne, or is there any reason why we just shouldn't give them to everyone? And
Yeah. Well, if we gave them to everyone, wouldn't that be lovely? But have you heard of this thing called resistance? If we splash around drugs, the virus will mutate and become immune resistant to them. So then they won't work for the really vulnerable people. So if you're a 30-year-old out there thinking, I'll just go to the chemist, get my GP to write a script, and I'll pay the $1,000, don't do it, because you're just increasing the chance of resistance developing, and then your grandma won't be protected.
Is it $1,000 if you just decided to do it off your own bat?
Yeah, through a private prescription, but no doctor would probably let you do that. I don't think that's ethical, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that? Are there any downsides? So, if you've got kidney failure or liver failure, which means you're at high risk, unfortunately, you can't have the damn things. So that's a bit of a pity. Catch-22 there. And the one called Paxlovid has got a list of at least 40 or 50 medications. We have to go through your medication list that they interact with. So I spend a lot of my time saying, look, I know you're high risk and you're over 75 and be great, but you're on this cholesterol tablet, you're on this heart tablet, you're on this antidepressant tablet, so you can't have them. It's a bit of a catch-22 again. But you can have the other one called Legevrego. That's much easier to prescribe, less interactions, but not as good. So catch-22.
The other point we were making earlier, Dr. Byrne, because there's obviously a big push on at the moment for people to get their fourth vaccine, there's still a hell of a lot of people out there haven't had their third vaccine. And we were saying earlier that anyone who doubts the ability of these things to prevent you from getting COVID should look at the figures that came out from SA Health last week, showing that even though we've got like 9 out of 10 people in SA have had at least 2 vaccines, 50%, more than 50% of the people who are in hospital at the moment in a bad way with COVID aren't vaccinated. So the numbers are quite clear, aren't they, that you're in better shape against it if you've had your shots?
Yeah, in my opinion, if you've had 2 vaccines, you're not fully vaccinated, you may as well have had none. I mean, go and get that third one. For goodness sake, if you're going to do at least one thing to help yourself and the community, go and get your third vaccine. We'll have the very health literate and people who care about their health rushing in to get their fourth one from today, and that's excellent. But the people out there who've only had 2 and think that you've done your duty and you did it because it was a mandate, didn't really want to, that's great. But I've got patients with long COVID now, and geez, they're wishing they'd had their third shot. Too late for them.
Yeah.
This is probably an unanswerable question, Dr. Byrne, but I'll pose it anyway. And some version of it's been asked multiple times over the course of the last couple of years. But we seem to be in a cycle now where people that have been triple vaxxed and or have had COVID before are, because of the new strain, susceptible to getting it again. And some I know have got it for a second time. And there's this sort of sense now, well, what stops this just being what life is now? What stops this just being a perpetual state of evolution of the virus, shot, getting it, and then getting it again 6 months later?
That time will tell. Hopefully, at the crossroads of this virus, because if each mutation is more infectious but slightly less deadly, then it may just mutate away to being a harmless, annoying cold-type virus. That would be ideal. But the damn thing could flip the other way and become super contagious and super deadly. So, we just have to wait and see. That's why, I was talking earlier about the antivirals. We don't want to overuse them in healthy people. So their effectiveness lasts as long as possible before we have to invent a new one, because the virus gets resistant to this current batch.
So to put you on the spot,
to
put you on the spot, Doctor, I'm not sure if you're a betting man, but the scenario you just painted, COVID running out of puff or COVID getting ready to do something completely zany and unpredicted, what do you reckon it's going to do?
I hope it runs out of puff, but I'm not an epidemiologist or a laboratory scientist. I'm trying to look at the half glass full type picture. But,
we've got a question from someone from you on the text line, Dr. Byrne, asking about local GPs not seeing people with COVID. This person says our GP will not see someone who's got COVID. How do we get a script for the antivirals?
Good question. It's all got to be done over the telephone. This is all telehealth. Sure, there wouldn't be a single patient in Australia who hasn't done telehealth in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So can I explain? I'm booked out for 4 weeks, right? If you go online on my website, no appointment for 4 weeks. But you ring up, I've got secret COVID appointments scattered through the day. we squeeze you into these slots, and I'll do all this over the phone, because it's $150 work that the government pays me $40 for. But that's another story.
Right. but so would that be? Is that not, if not policy, fairly commonplace among GPs that you're aware of?
Well, there's no other way to do it. You've got to get this medication within the first 5 days, hopefully day 0. So you've got to be dealing with your GP. And if it's your trusted GP that you've got a long relationship with, the practice, the receptionist rings up and actually knows who you are just by the sound of your voice, that's ideal. And you've got a regular chemist. That's why you should have a regular GP and a regular chemist. But this will all go really smoothly. And to be honest, the patients we're worried about, the elderly, the chronically unwell, the immunosuppressed, they've all got regular GPs and specialists in place. So, 9 times out of 10, it should go smoothly. But if you are one of these people who's got a chronic illness, but you go to 5 different practices, then I'm sorry, it's going to be a bit tricky for you.
Dr. Byrne, thank you.
Yeah,
really appreciate your time.
Great explanation of complicated stuff. Good on you, Dr. Byrne.
Dr. Danny Byrne, the South Australian Chair of the Royal Australian College of GPs. We're going to check traffic. We're going to talk classic cars when we return. There's still time. Join Samri's Bright Walk for a brighter future at samribright.org.au.
At Ingle Farm, look out for a multi-car smash on Montague Road and Walkley's Road. In the Parklands, Rundle Road is currently closed between East Terrace and Kettleford Terrace. That's for the Illuminate Festival. At Brighton, we've got a burst water main, Brighton Road near Folkestone Road, and Campbelltown gas main replacement activity continues, Newton Road near Montague Road. Cameras on the drive-in, Coventry Road, Monopara, and Eliza Place at Panorama. The Secret She Keeps Season 2 premieres July 12th on Paramount+. Don't miss The Secrets She Keeps Season 2, joining the mountain of entertainment exclusive to Paramount+. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to tow. You can go with 3.5-ton towing capacity, trailer sway control and a reversing camera as standard across the range, now's the time to hitch up the boat, caravan or trailer and hit the road in the powerful 3-litre turbo diesel Isuzu D-Max. Search Isuzu D-Max.
If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, then you really need to speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Now, if you're fitting out a workshop, your shed or rooms around the home, or maybe in my case your backyard with extra storage, forget the flat pack. Go Sharman Shelving every time.
And here's the thing we all love about Sharman Shelving. It's all done for you. It's not flat packed, so you're not going to sit there for hours trying to find the part marked A that's meant to fit into the part marked C, but you can't do it because B's missing. This is my life. Every bit of child's furniture is like this, David.
That's right. You should get Sharman Shelving to make you a cot. I reckon they could.
Oh, yeah.
Not only that,
Wouldn't that be good?
A nice stainless steel cot.
Stand the test of time.
That's right, exactly. You can have kids for another 500 years and use that cot. The guys at Sharman Shelving, they'll come out, they'll give you a free measure and quote, then they'll deliver and assemble it all for you.
Or if you do want to assemble it yourself, they give you all the support you need.
Don't do that, though. I just said to Bill, no, mate, you do it all and just plonk it over there in the backyard. When it comes to storage solutions, everybody needs a little Sharman in their life. 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, sharmanshelving.com.au, or take a look on Facebook.
The Adelaide Central Market is open and it's not going anywhere. You might notice some changes as the exciting new market expansion gets underway. But don't worry, your favourite traders, your weekly fruit and veg, your fresh seafood and morning coffees aren't going anywhere. It might be expanding, but the market you know and love is open throughout all stages of construction with easy undercover parking. Shop at the Adelaide Central Market, trading as always Tuesday to Saturday.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide, for Adelaide. 9 News.
Breakfast on 5AA. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Statewide Super is now Host Plus, an industry super fund for all Australians. That's a plus.
10 to 9, the McLaren Vale Vintage and Classic Car event meant to be held in April this year, but like so many things, was cancelled due to COVID. But there's some real questions now about what will happen next year because the chairman and founder, Trevor Sharp, is retiring. Understandably, had a good run. It's been a terrific event. The problem is he needs someone to take over the job. Trevor, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Hopefully, Trevor, this can serve as a bit of a position vacant interview so that you can find someone to pick up the cudgels. How long have you been running the event for, mate?
Oh, this would have been our 16th event coming up. We had a couple of them cancelled due to COVID. But it's been a long event, gradually building up from nothing to what it was in our last run, where we had a little over 600 cars and thousands of people in the street. So it was a great event.
And it's always been in McLaren Vale, yeah?
Yeah, well, it was designed for McLaren Vale. I was chairman of the Business Association down here at the time, and I invented it. I just pinched a bit of the idea from a thing I read about in England, in a little village in central England, where they were missing out on tourists because the main road went past them, and they were a spur road, so they invited all the vintage and veteran cars down there, and they got 25,000 or something in the first event. So
well, you're getting 20,000 now. So in 15 years, you went from 50 cars to 600. How big a job is it to organise that?
Oh, it's a big job. I mean, so you've got to have the passion. I mean, if you haven't got, you don't just, you've got to love cars, you know, and love the area. You know, that's the thing. I mean, that was the passion that got us going, and we achieved our goal. We got people to come to McLaren Vale, and you know, we got everybody booked out all around the place for accommodation and doing all that sort of thing. So it's a shame that you know, it can't go on forever. Well, I can't go on forever. Put it that way. My wife and I have, you know, been actually doing it for. It's sort of a thing that we'd start working on it. You know, it has to be started before the end of October, and then you know, it works gradually. You've got a list of things to do as it builds up, and then probably the last 2 months, it's, you know, pretty much 24/7.
Wow. And yeah, well, I can see why it'd get to the point, you know, in your life where you'd feel like you've done enough, Trevor. So, what sort of person are you looking for? I guess the key quality sounds like it's got to be passion, doesn't it?
Oh well, that's you know, you've got to. I mean, it's never been a design to raise money. That was a byproduct that we started with our dinner and our auction and things like that, but the actual event itself was always designed to break even. So it's a community event, free for the public. You know, the guys that take part pay a small entry fee, and everything gets covered, all the printing, all the advertising, and, you know, radio, TV, all that stuff. Everything's all set up. It's a walk-in thing, so anybody could come along, and we could give them the whole guts of the whole thing, really, and say, you know, here you go. It's all on our computers. It's all here. It's, you know, you can have the lot.
Have you got your own cars, Trevor, that you show as part of the event?
Oh, I have a car now. I had 2 or 3 at one stage, but I'm back to 1 now. So, you know, it's somebody that would be, you know, similar to me, that has to have their own car of some description, I would think, or would cherish to have one.
Well, it's no small thing. You created an event from scratch that gets 20,000 spectators.
Yeah. I
hope it can continue, Trevor, and hope you find someone to take over from the excellent job you've done, mate. Great to speak with you this morning.
No worries. I hope someone will be listening and you know, think, oh, well, I wouldn't mind giving it a go.
Yeah, for sure. Good on you, Trevor. Thanks very much, mate, and all the best for your retirement too.
It's 5 minutes to 9 and time to go behind closed doors, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is Leon Bino.
Good morning and thank you for joining us this morning. A lot to get to. Today, the issue of mobile phones in the classroom and whether there should be a blanket ban on them, and indeed a ban on phones being taken onto campus. It really does beg the question, if kids can't go without their phone for 6 hours when they should be focused on their studies, then something is clearly wrong. Now, I don't have an issue with kids having mobile phones. A lot of parents like the security it can offer children when they're away from the parents, but when they're in a situation which requires concentration and attention to detail, I'm sure you wouldn't argue with the fact that it is counterproductive to have your mobile phone going off all the time. And clearly, I think you'd agree, not conducive to performing at your best. Let's talk to the President of the Australian Education Union, Andrew Goll, about this, because I'm sure he has strong views on the use of mobile phones in classrooms. Andrew, what are your views on this? No, we're not getting you. No, try facing towards Morn Church, even though it's been demolished. No. Look, later on this morning, we'll be talking about how sometimes things appear so coincidental, it almost seems like they were made up. But let me tell you, that's not always the case.
He's got multiple phones, Leon.
Where's Morn Church?
Not sure. You can look that up. I tell you...
I'll have to ask Leon.
If you're intending on going to anywhere via the Adelaide Airport today or this week, it's going to pay to get there early and be patient. The Times are reporting this morning the school holiday rush is on. The airport's expecting some 100,000 passengers between Monday and Friday. There's already been 3 flights cancelled this morning before 8 a.m. Someone that the Times spoke to said the processing of bag drop took more than 2 hours.
Yeah, seriously. A tip, folks, if you're leaving, we had a big family meeting before the trip to Sydney. I said, listen, everyone's doing hand luggage.
Oh, good call.
From a few members of the family. I won't say which ones, but I got a, what? What? We're going for a week. So it doesn't matter. It's not a fashion parade. Wear your heavy clothes on the plane. Spoke to one of our mates in Sydney. They went away to Queensland. They waited 3 hours to get their bags in Brisbane.
Oh.
Hand luggage is the go. And pack within the limits, you know. I think it's 10K maximum for your big bag. Then you can take a smaller light bag with, you know, your iPad or whatever. But it just makes life much more relaxing. You have more time having fun. Do you want to go on a holiday to see things, or do you want to stand there at the carousel for 3 hours?
I'm putting that down the tip of David's parenting.
Add that to the list.
That's in the guide.
Yes.
The book to be released later this year in all good bookstores. 2 to 9. Leon. Oh, no. We're going to call. Stephen Hackham's on the line. Morning to you, Steve.
Morning, boys. You said Morn Church. I went for my first job interview as a turntable operator with Vaughan Harvey at 5KA, and that was in the same building as Morn Church.
Yeah, right. It wasn't that long ago that it was knocked down, I don't think.
I didn't know it'd been knocked down, David.
Well, I might be wrong about that too.
Yeah, but I thought I'd let you know. 5KA.
Good on you, Steve.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that, mate. Well known to John Blake.
No, it was knocked down, 2016.
Leon Biner's coming up. We're out of time. Great to be back, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6.
Hi, Shayna Blaze here. As a designer, I know how tricky it can be to design the perfect bathroom. So I teamed up with Beaumont Tiles and created complete bathroom packages. Drop into Beaumont's for complete bathroom package